presentation of Prime Sports.
Sunday night, the Utah Grizzlies were eager to face an Arrows team playing its fourth game in 5 nights, and Utah jumped on them early en route to a 4-1 win. Now the Atlanta Knights return to the Summit in Houston, and you know the action will be hot. No, not this hot. Houston Aeros hockey's coming at you next. From the Summit in Houston, Texas, it's live International Hockey League action. Tonight, the Arrows take on the Atlanta Knights. A very pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Summit. I'm Adam Gordon. It's a huge contest tonight, the Arrows and the Atlanta Knights, and you take a look at the Central Division standings, and here's why. Arrows just 6 points back of the Atlanta Knights for that 4th spot in the Central Division. A win tonight could just put the Arrows 4 points back. And as I bring in my broadcast partner, Mike Greener, tonight's game, a battle of youth. Not really as much on the ice as it is on the benches with Dave Tippett and Scott Gordon.
Scott Gordon's 32, Dave Tippett's 34, and we asked Scott Gordon before the game what it's like being the youngest coach in the IHL.
Well, I think the pressure's all lying in the fact that a lot of things are new for me, and there are situations that come up that I don't have the experience of handling, and you learn as you go. But I was fortunate enough to work with someone that helped me a lot, and as far as being a young coach, I think I can relate to the players and what they go through on a day-to-day basis, given the fact that it was just 2 years ago that I played, and there's been a lot of situations that have come up so far in this short amount of time where I've learned that the players just want to know where they stand and what's going on, and that's been one of the things that I've been trying to work on, let them put their mind at ease.
You talked about 34-year-old Dave Tippett. Well, he's got his hands full. He's been dealt a pretty serious injury as far as Mike Maurice is concerned. That's a big loss to the Arrow lineup.
Yeah, he got hurt against Las Vegas, but they didn't realize the injury till today, and he'll be out of the lineup. Therefore, guys like Graham Townsend and Mike Yeo will have to step up. These two guys have been playing great. They're going to have to play even better.
And that takes us to our Oshman's Game Plan. It's brought to you by Oshman Super Sports USA.
Well, first of all, it's support. It's easier to forecheck when you know their guys are backing you up. Second, a better start. Maybe the first goal or first 2 goals would be great, and physical play, well, that's self-explanatory.
Tonight in goal for the Arrows, it'll be Rob Dobson, played terrific against the Utah Grizzlies against Derek Wilkinson. When we return, the pregame show will continue right after this. Houston Aeros hockey on Prime Sports is being brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Fly Southwest, the low-fare airline. By your participating HCA Healthcare Corporation, a new commitment to healthcare together. By Texaco Clean System 3 gasolines. Add more life to your car, take it to the stars. And by the Gatorade Company. If you're living life to the fullest, you're gonna get thirsty. That's why you need Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Life's a sport, drink it up. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Summit. Adam Gordon, Mike Greenlay. And let's quickly take a look at tonight's starting lineups, brought to you by Southwest Airlines. For the Atlanta Knights, Brent Peterson, Corey Spring, Jeff Toms up front with Drew Bannister and Sean Rivers. And in goal, Derek Wilkinson. Wilkinson comes in a record of 11-9-2, a 3.93 goals against average, and a save percentage right at 88%. For the Houston Aeros, Kelly Hurd, Graham Townsend, Mark Lamb, with a defensive tandem of Steve Jakes and Mark Laniel, and Rob Dobson making the start. At 7-10-2, a 4.13 goals against average, played terrific against the Utah Grizzlies, and he'll make his first start in quite a while. It'll be the Arrows and the Knights. Arrows defending the goal to our right, the Knights the goals to our left. Mark Lamb to take the face-off is Dave Tippett, 3-2-1. Would like to keep it above 500 as a head coach, and we're talking about 2 of the youngest coaches in the IHL when you talk about Dave Tippett, and the counterpart on the Atlanta Knight bench is Scotty Gordon. Drop of the puck and we're underway. It is Laniel to the near side, pushed the puck to Hurd, it went into the Atlanta Knight zone, and Sean Rivers back to play it. Rivers a pass, missed Toms. It goes back into the Arrow zone. Icing is indicated as Laniel goes back to play it, and icing is the call. We talked about Scotty Gordon a little bit at the top of the broadcast, but Scott Gordon is a guy that's, it's similar situations, I think, when you look at the Arrows and the Atlanta Knights as far as the coaching changes.
Well, it certainly is. Both of them were assistant coaches prior to their becoming head coaches. and they're both in there on what's called an interim basis. I mean, I guess they're both in there for the rest of the season, and if they do well, they'll probably be rewarded with a head coaching job next year, which is good. It gives them something to work towards.
Gordon is the youngest now, head coach in the IHL at 32. Tippett at 34. But in between is Chris McSorley of Las Vegas, and obviously you know how good a job Mr. McSorley has done. Face off right side of Wilkinson. Off the draw, it's Miles O'Connor getting set. Winding, shooting. Wilkinson saving with the left hand. O'Connor picked it up, drilled a shot, but he was bumped by Julia. Back behind the net, it's Adrian Plavsic. Plavsic had it knocked away by Malgunas, and with the injury to Maurice, I think you'll see Malgunas getting a little more ice time tonight. Here's Ian LePerriere, bumped off the puck by Malgunas, cleared to the near side, and Davidson out at center ice. Davidson romping through the neutral zone, shoots the puck into the aero zone, back to play, and it's Gord Donnelly, tipped it up the wall, not out. Held in LePerriere, and a stick save made by Dobson. Puck into the corner for Davidson, lobbed it along, Julia trying to gather it in. Julia tonight missing his 1-2 punch, if you will. He might be the 1 punch, but the 2 punch of Jason Ruff is suspended, along with the Arrows' Scott Arneal from that big Frankus a while back. Here's a puck at center, knocked away by Dobson. Gobbled up by O'Connor and shoveled ahead to Slipchenko, but couldn't find the handle. Chris LaPuma runs it into the Arrow zone where Dobson knocks it down, and this is Gord Krupke. Krupke turning in his own zone. He'll move it up and out at center ice. Krupke's pass just missing Freer, and it's gobbled up by the Atlanta Knights, but then finally poked away by Krupke, who ran into Reggie Savage. At center ice. This is LaPuma down the right side, and he hammers it into the Arrow zone. Dobson slows behind the net. Dobson hard off the glass, clear to the near side. Knights couldn't hold it in, and Freer's got it 2-on-2 with Slipchenko. Freer hits the line, pulls up, getting set, sends for Turgeon, who's ball down, and a penalty coming up to the Atlanta Knights. It will be either Greg or Iger Cyprus, but regardless, the Arrows are going to get a power play.
Yeah, Greg got his stick up around the waist of Turgeon and just pulled him down, and Turgeon looked like he got shot from a sniper from the third balcony. But Turgeon coming in, and they all just put on the brakes, and Turgeon was going for the puck, and I thought it was Cyprus myself, but it looks like Greg's in the box, and he'll go for either interference or hooking. But a good chance for the Arrows right off the bat. We talked about them getting off to a good start.
Luke Galvin, our referee tonight, along with Fred Huddy and Frank Prestigiovanni, the linesman. But I was watching that, and it's definitely a penalty, but Turgeon kind of made it a little more dramatic, and I was afraid that maybe, because we've seen it a lot this year, that you'd see that diving call as well.
Well, what you'll find a lot of times is when a player is driving like that and he loses his balance because he's pulled from behind, his feet come right up from underneath him.
Here's a puck controlled by Mike Hurlbut. Lets the shot go right on Wilkinson. Saving it, deflecting off his stick, and he will hold on. The Arrows power play coming in 15th in the IHL, but when you look at the penalty killing of the Atlanta Knights, it is dead last.
Yeah, and the Arrows are right above them, but the Atlanta Knights have a 74.9 kill ratio percentage there, and Dave Tippett's going to try and take advantage of that with guys like Lamb and Turgeon and Yo, who is out there right now, and of course on the point Hurlbut. And Hurlbut, he's got that big-time shot. We're going to have to see a lot more of that.
Arrows have a minute 50 on the power play. LaPuma turning in his own zone. He'll shoot it down the ice. Get used to the specialty teams, because when these two teams get together, it's physical. In fact, the last time these two teams played in this building, they combined for 169 penalty minutes. Puck is worked ahead by Al Conroy. Get it to Turgeon down the left side. It goes into the Atlanta Knights zone. LaPuma's there. Get up the wall, and it's back down through the neutral zone and into Arrow territory. Dobson slows behind the net with a minute 23 to go on the power play. Here comes Lamb. Mark Lamb, a pass out at center to the right side. Turgeon in across the line. Turgeon centering for Yo. It was knocked away and pushed the length of the ice. Out of the net, Dobson, he will slow. He did not give up a goal against Utah, but he is credited by giving up an empty net goal. It doesn't go as your goals against ours, but he is credited as giving up that empty net goal in Utah, but not a goal against. Here is O'Connor. Give it to Lamb across the line. Lamb winding, shooting. And Wilkinson makes the save, and he will hold on. Power play down to 54 seconds. 17-13 to go in the first, and a scoreless hockey game.
You know, we talk about guys taking shots from there, and that's actually a good place to take a shot from, because it's really a no-lose situation. You get a good hard shot on goal. He steps over the line. He doesn't really have too many guys driving to the net, so he gets a shot on goal. If the goalie makes a save and there's a rebound, someone's in there for the rebound. But if the goalie freezes it, then you get the face-off right down deep in the zone.
Well, as far as Mark Lamb goes, I know the coaches would like to see him shoot the puck a little bit more. He's got a good shot, and if you go back to the Vegas game when he scored first, he showed, I mean, that shot that he took that beat Jim Rivnak, a terrific shot that gave the Arrows the 1-0 lead in Vegas. Here's the puck right side. Slivchenko slides it down. Freer looks in front. Freer pass back to the line. O'Connor winding, shooting block. Slivchenko tees it up. The drive deflected away to the far side. Rivers booms it off the boards, and that'll go the length of the ice. Just over half a minute remaining in the power play for the Houston Aeros. 16:50 to go in the first in a scoreless hockey game. Miles O'Connor, forecheck by Julia. He'll head back in behind the net, seek a little refuge and work the pass out to the left side. Laniel. Here come the Aeros. Kelly Hurt across the line. Dropped it. Slivchenko. Right in goal. Stopped in front by Wilkinson. He will hold on. So the Aeros getting the puck in deep and creating some chances, but Derek Wilkinson, a fine job in front with 3.5 gone in the first in a scoreless hockey game.
That's something you want to see Slivchenko do a lot and use his speed. We see his acceleration. He has some of the best acceleration in the league, and you see him do it right here as he picks the puck up and he just flies around the Atlanta defense. The only problem is Wilkinson, playing like a veteran, he stands on the end of his crease, doesn't budge, and he's like a wall.
You talk about Slivchenko, he's one of the guys where I wish the IHL would maybe do like they do in the NBA for the skills competition. They bring in other guys, even though they're not playing in the game, because I would have liked to have seen how Slivchenko would compare in the fastest skater.
Yeah, and we talked about Sean Rivers being a fast skater for the Atlanta Knights. These two guys would be a good matchup.
Here's a drive-by, Hurlbut, and a stick save made by Wilkinson. Hurlbut back to the line. Worked it over to O'Connor to left point. Back to Hurlbut, top of the slot. Slides it behind the cage. Kelly Hurt is there. Hurt slides it to Lamb. Base of the right circle. Lamb, Townsend, and Hurt, but a pass from Lamb deflected away just as the penalty expires. And here come the Atlanta Knights 5-on-5. Julia back in front. Bannister the drive. Stopped by Dobson. Rebound trickled down, and Dobson will hold on. Let's take timeout. 16:10 to go in the first. We are scoreless. Back after this, but first, this word from Southwest Airlines.
Back at the Summit, no score. Mark Gregg gets out of the box and he feeds Drulia, and they come down on a 3-on-2. Drulia feeds Bannister, who gets a pretty good shot on goal. And the Arrows' power play was over at that point, and the Knights jump right on the opportunity, but Dobson's there playing very well, and he covers that puck up for a face-off.
Would you say the number one job, goaltender job, is up for grabs at this point?
You could say that. I mean, these guys are kind of, it's almost come full circle again. You know, where you're seeing guys play. Gamble played against Las Vegas on Friday, and then Dobson's in now.
Here is a chance now for Jeff Tom. Centered one, it was knocked away, and it'll trickle back to the blue line. Yeah, I think in the last two outings for Grant Shervin, he was just a little above average as opposed to above spectacular in his first 5 starts. And like we made the analogy to Grant Shervin, we found out that he really was a breathing human being as opposed to unconscious. Here's a centering pass, blocked in front. It went to the far corner. Corey down to Brent Peterson at the hash marks left side. Slides it back to Plavsic, who had pinched on the play. It's back out at center.
I think it's only fair to let both those guys play under this new system, because Grant Shervin played spectacular when he was in, but you have to look at the fact that both goaltenders didn't get a chance to play for this new look, I guess, Arrows.
Here's the puck controlled by Steve Jakes with 15:24 to go in the first. Still no score. Townsend a pass for Lamb. Lamb tried to work it ahead, but they're going to call that a hand pass play, whistle down. You know, we were talking not only to Troy Gamble, but also to Rob Dobson following the hockey game. In fact, Dauber, we talked to him after the Utah game, and he says the exact same thing that Troy Gamble was, and that's how easy it's been playing in front of these guys with the new system.
Well, I think what they're trying to say is that it's easier for them to make decisions. Now, when two players come down, the goaltender always wants to take the shooter, but you always have to be concerned with other guys. Well, this allows them to really concentrate on the shooter, and because it forces the other team to shoot from angles that they normally do not want to shoot from, and that's just that much easier for guys like Dobson, Gamble, and Shervin. And you know, you just want to keep that up, because the easier you make it on your goaltenders, the farther you seem to go.
Scoreless hockey game from the Summit. Arrows couldn't advance, and here comes Jeff Tom. Drop Corey Spring across the line. Spring the shot, and the glove save made by Dobson. He will hold on. 5 minutes gone in the first. Scoreless from the Summit. You know, Rob Dobson, a lot of people seem to forget that this is a guy that was the IHL goaltender of the week in early October, and he had his problems, yes, but I think every goaltender goes through that, except for you when you played Greener. You were perfect always.
It's called bouncing back, and Dobson's one of the best at it. He comes back, and he's able to regain his game right back, because he works hard in practice as well.
And he has the most amazing attitude. I mean, he doesn't let things bother him.
This guy's always got a hop in his step and a tune to whistle when he walks the dressing room, and that kind of attitude gets you a lot farther than the alternative.
He's unbelievable. He's got a terrific attitude. Here is Rowanka now, turning in behind the net. Darcy Rowanka worked at far corner for Chris LaPuma, tripped away by Al Conroy. Conroy Hasparks turned it over, though, as it's picked up by the Knights and skated to center, but Yo knocked it away. Drulia got it back for the Knights. He'll circle back. Team captain Stan Drulia, just 9 points back in the points leader in the IHL behind Craig Fisher of the Orlando Solar Bears. Here's the puck along the far boards. Malkunas trying to clear. He will. It'll go back to the Atlanta blue line where Wawanka waits for it. Forecheck by Yo. The puck shot the length of the ice. Arrows making changes. Nearly turned over Christian Campo, one of the hardest working forwards for the Atlanta Knights, if not the hardest worker. Puck along the near wall. Campo kicks and digs and scrums, tries to freeze it for a face-off. And finally we get a whistle, and that halts play with 14:11 to go in the first period. And a scoreless hockey game. Don't forget to join us again Sunday, February 4th for more IHL hockey action when the Arrows take on the Fort Wayne Comets. Arrows jumped to an early 2-1 lead in their last meeting, but goaltender Peter Ing shut them out the rest of the way as the Comets won 3-2. That's the Arrows and the Fort Wayne Comets Sunday, February 4th here on Prime Sports and 950 KPRC Radio. Well, Mark Freer, here's a guy with the new system. You've talked about guys that have benefited from the new system. Mark Freer, he has really picked up his play. Outstanding.
He has, and you need guys like him to really pick it up in this second half of the season. Of course, we've talked a lot about how important this part of the season is, and when you get a guy like Mark Freer going, it can't do anything but help you.
They've got Turgeon on the line with Freer and Slivchenko because of the suspension to Scott Arniel. Bannister flipped the puck along the near boards. Here is Hurlbut trying to slide it down. And the Knights jam it back to center ice where Hurlbut is there. Placed it high in the air. That'll bounce back into the Atlanta Knights zone. Back to play at Sean Rivers. Rivers turning in behind the net. Forecheck by Freer. Kind of playing peekaboo with him, if you will. Rivers waiting now. Slides a pass to the near side for Bannister. Arrows collapse on him. And the puck at center ice, but Mark Gregg is there. Across the line for Igor Cyprus. Cyprus moving in. Center Johnson. Stick save. Rebound in front. And the Arrows have got it. Freer. The pass to center for Turgeon. Turgeon had it poke checked away. And Mark Gregg has got it. Gregg to the neutral zone, sliced it into the Arrow end, and Dobson will knock it down. 13:20 to go in the first, still scoreless. Mark Lamb, quick pass ahead for Slivchenko, couldn't find the handle, and Cyprus takes over. Igor Cyprus across the line for the Atlanta Knights, back to the line. Brad Miller, who came in on a loan situation as Dobson makes a glove save. Hold on, Miller coming over in a loan situation, kind of tough. He was loaned from Minnesota to Utah, then was let go back to Minnesota, but actually never made it back to Minnesota. Came right back to Atlanta.
Yeah, he kind of he kind of didn't make the full trip, as you said. We actually played against him last week, last game against Utah, and Brad Miller coming in, and he has been traveling a little bit, but maybe he has found a home here with the Atlanta Knights. He's a big, strong guy, and with Fletcher out, he's the kind of guy that'll step in as far as the toughness role is concerned.
6'4", 220 pounds. You want him back there? Yes, I thought so. Face off to the right side of Rob Dobson. Here is Laniel in the corner. Jam the puck ahead for Graham Townsend. And the Arrows are off to center ice. Lamb through the neutral zone. Looks for the pass instead. Dumps the puck into the Atlanta zone. Wilkinson slowed behind the net. And it's picked up by Brad Miller. Weaves it up and out of his zone. Out at center ice. Kelly Hurd ripped it in. And the Knights are there. Here comes Mark Lamb across the line. Lamb looks in front for Kelly Hurd. Cuts right in. Centered. Here's the chance in front. They shoot. Oh, great right pad save made by Wilkinson. Townsend winding, shooting. His shot bounded wide to the left side of Wilkinson. Picked up by Plavsic. Cleared, not out. Eldon Jakes dumped it back behind the Atlanta Knight net. Battle for the puck. Scooped up by Plavsic. Rolled to Peterson. And he cleared it out of center ice as Townsend finished his check on Peterson. 12:22 to go in the first, still no score. Here comes Laniel for Houston across the Atlanta line. Dropped it for Lamb, back in front for Laniel, but it was knocked away by Plavsic. Adrian Plavsic in his own end. He will romp through the neutral zone. Plavsic cutting to his left, shoots it into the Arrow end, and Dobson will slow behind the cage. 8 minutes gone in the first. Husek's on the board. Here's Jakes, who's dumped in his own end, but the puck out at center. And Townsend rolled it into the Atlanta end. Back to play it. Yo after it for Houston, but it was reversed to Darcy Wawanka. Wawanka right side pass, center ice for Stan Drulia. Across the line. Drulia cutting in, makes his move around Donnelly, but couldn't finish the play. It came in front. Dobson covers up. He will hold on, and we take timeout. 11:42 to go in the first. The Arrows nothing, the Knights nothing. Back after this.
Welcome back to the Summit. Still no score as Mark Lamb feeds his puck in front of the net, and Wilkinson kicks it out. And the puck will go in, and then Wilkinson will kick it out with his pad as it finally reaches him. And the Arrows not knowing where it was, weren't able to get the rebound. But even the funniest little tiny shots can give goaltenders trouble, as that one kind of did Wilkinson, and the Arrows weren't able to capitalize on the rebound.
Most goalies like good hard shots, right?
Oh, definitely, because then your reaction is true. It's not you don't get fooled by the knuckleball, as he said.
Here's Gord Donnelly now for the Houston Aeros. Shoots the puck into the Atlanta zone. Knocked down by Wilkinson, and the Knights take over. Wawenka behind the net. Jammed it up for Julia. Pass to the left side, Davidson, as he meandered to the neutral zone, and Christian Campos there. Got it into the Arrow end, and back to play it. It's Mike Yeo with 11:15 to go. First period, scoreless hockey game. Pass just missing Malgunas, and playing it is Chris LaPuma. Knights have got it along the left side. Lee Davidson hooked it into the Arrow zone, and Mike Yeo is back. Here comes Yeo. Right up the neutral zone. Yeo across the line, doing a good job of stick handling. Fired it into the night end. Back to play it, as LaPuma gave Yeo a bit of a bump. You might recall last year Mike Yeo and Chris LaPuma had a little bit of a dance, and Mike Yeo introduced Chris LaPuma to several right hands, knocked him down to the ice. Puck is controlled by LaPuma and shoveled out at center. Hurlbut got it to Kelly Hurd, and it was shot into the Atlanta Knight end, and Chris LaPuma is there. 10.5 to play in the first scoreless hockey game. Puck shot the length of the ice by the Knights. The Arrows go back to touch. This is going to be icing as Hurlbut is there. And the face-off will be in the Atlanta Knight zone with 10:26 to go in the first. No score.
You know, earlier, Adam, you mentioned about both teams losing some players. Scott Gordon's Atlanta Knights don't have their Jason Ruff with them. He has that means they lose 50 points out of their lineup right there. 29 of those goals. Of course, on his counterpart, Dave Tippett, he also loses a fine player in Scott Arneal, a guy that's usually a captain on the power play, and a guy where you lose 27 points, 15 of those goals. So I mean, you lose some big things, but you don't lose any physicalness when you see these two teams, as LaPuma tries to lower the boom on Yeo and they both go down. But you'll see a lot of that, especially between those two players tonight.
Puck is in the Atlanta Knight end. It's controlled by Mark Gregg. Circles back in his end, and a pass to center ice, and Krupke is there. Krupke tried to turn it ahead, but Drew Bannister intercepted and dumped into the Arrow zone. Out of the net, Dobson gives it back to Krupke, turning in behind the cage. And here's Gord Krupke for Mike Hurlbut. The pass jammed off the wall, not out. Bannister slides it for Gregg. In there is Blakey Savage, and he was drilled from behind by Krupke, and no penalty. Wow. That looked like maybe Krupke got a little bit behind him, but the other thing is maybe Savage turned. We'll have to take a look at that one. Here is Hurlbut at center ice. Hurlbut, pass knocked away from Slivchenko, and Hurlbut tries it again. Give it to Freer, circles back into his own end, and he'll give it to Krupke, and then threw it off Freer's skates. And that nearly went in. Well, it did go in on Dobson. Here's the puck to Hurlbut. Quick pass off the wall for Kelly Hurd. And playing it is Adrian Plazik. Left side Rivers. Jam the puck ahead for Corey Spring. It goes into the Arrow zone. And Dobson will slow. Maniel turning in behind his net with 9:24 to go. Arrows a pass at center for Graham Townsend. Townsend trying to make his move. It was tipped away, though, on the defense of Daniel Leperrier. Pass along the right side. It is Jakes. Give it to Lamb. Hits the line with Townsend. Townsend right side with a puck, makes his move around Plazik, looks in front, couldn't stuff it as Plazik jammed him off. In there was Lamb. Here is Lamb along the left side, center, turns on the shot, but he got a little too much into it because it gave the Knights a chance to collapse on him, and it was deflected away. Now Lamb trying to wrestle the puck away. It came out in front, and Corey Spring takes over. Pass at center. It is shot into the Arrow zone, and Dobson will play it. Flings it off the boards. Plazik near side. Plazik along the right wing boards trying to get it down for Toms. It rolled behind the Arrow cage, and Steve Jakes is there. Jakes for Lamb. Through the check of Spring, and here come the Arrows. A pass off the skates of Sylvain Turgeon. And the Arrows make a line change. 8:27 to go in the first. We are scoreless from the Summit. The Arrows and the Knights. Miles O'Connor back to play the puck for Houston. O'Connor moves it through the neutral zone. O'Connor right side through Darcy Rowenka, got the puck in. LaPuma back to play. LaPuma off the boards, heads up, that's over the glass, out of play. That's a souvenir, and we take timeout. 8:09 to go in the first. Scoreless. We'll be back after this.
No score, Knights and Arrows at the Summit, and we talked about it being a physical game. It's going to be even more, and there's Krupke putting the lowering the boom on Reg Savage. It was a good, clean hit if you see it from that angle. Here's another one as Hurlbut's out of the way, and it does get him from the side and from the back a little bit, but it was still a good hit. And I think maybe Krupke was reading the notes because Savage last week against San Francisco had a natural hat trick. That was only 3 days ago, and so there's something that will keep him away from the net.
And Savage did it in a span of 2 minutes and 59 seconds. I mean, natural hat trick is if you score 3 goals in a row for your team. But in that case, Savage did it in an amazing amount of time. Hockey shot out at center ice, and the Knights roll it back in, but they say it was offsides. They'll bring the face-off to center. 7:40 to go in the first. And a scoreless hockey. And Christian Campo, we talked about, one of the hardest working guys on this Knight Hockey Club. He always seems to do the job that nobody else really likes doing.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about Christian Campo. When he first came to the Knights, people weren't too sure what kind of role he would play, but he has improved every year, and not just about the point department, but just in the regular hockey skills and techniques and everything, and also the good defensive style of play he does play, and he has really improved. He's one of the most improved players probably in the league in the last few years.
Here is Yo, a pass too far for Carl Valamont on for his first shift of the night. Valamont might see a little action in the left wing department tonight with the absence of Mike Maurice and Scott Arneal. It is Lee Davidson with a puck. He'll carve one to the near side for Wawenka, slides at center. That got through Gord Donnelly, and actually, he is on the left wing here. I didn't see O'Connor out there, so it's O'Connor defensively with Donnelly, and Valamont was playing the left wing. Lee Davidson will be joining us in the first intermission. Davidson, not as much a teammate with you on the Knights like he was in Midget, though.
Yeah, we played together along with Gord Krupke as well, and we all played together in Midget. Had a really good season that year, and we all know each other and played against each other and with each other throughout our career. And it's kind of neat to see the circles of hockey, because eventually you do run into the guys you know.
Look at Gord Krupke, shaved off. He had the full goat going, and then when he got on the airplane after Utah, he had the Fu Manchu look. I was asking him what that was about, and he says,
I was bugging him. I said, now without any facial hair, you look like you have a baby face.
I'll tell you what, maybe that's reverse psychology. Go in thinking you can work them over. Not going to happen. We have some lovely parting. Buck shot ahead, and here comes Mark Gregg turning left side. Gregg cutting in, wanted to center, was knocked away. And Slivchenko could have had a breakaway, but a stick was being held. And a penalty coming up. It is going to be, I believe, on the Atlanta Knights, but Slivchenko could have very easily had a breakaway there if it wasn't for a stick being held, but I think it's going to work out anyway, and the Arrows should get a power play.
I think Reggie Savage will go to the box for interference, as he was interfered with right from the beginning, but that wasn't the call. It was actually the second interference against Savage, and Savage, I think, is still a little mad about that hit that he took from Krupke, because earlier on against the boards by the penalty box, he was trying to rough up Krupke. Krupke's a tough guy to be bumping around, but Krupke and Savage were really going at it and having words, and then right after that, Slivchenko gets a break, and a little bit of a hook there by Savage, and later on in the play, Savage just totally mauls him, and he'll go to the box for 2 minutes, and the Arrows will have their second power play of the period.
6:37 to go in the first. No score face-off to the right side of Derek Wilkinson. Conroy wins the draw back to Lamb. Went behind the net, but Chris LaPuma is there. Can he clear it? It'll bounce to the line. Hurlbut held that in nicely. Right side for Turgeon. Cycles it back to the line. Hurlbut turns it for Lamb. Lamb worked on along the boards. Lamb trying to move it back to the line. Here's Hurlbut winding. Shooting right on. Wilkinson the save. He will hold on. Mark Lamb, as we said, we were tracking Lamb's ice time. Here's an interesting stat on Mark Lamb. Since he has joined the Arrows, Lamb has only gone 2 games, in other words, back-to-back games without points once. That's an amazing statistic.
It is. He really has been a big part of this Arrow team, and there's Hurlbut's slap shot. Wilkinson does see it all the way in, and if the Arrows plan on scoring some goals on Wilkinson, they're going to have to get to the net on rebounds like this. The puck drops, they're going to have to be right there.
Puck along the near side. Here is Al Conroy. Conroy worked it back to the line for Lamb. Conroy getting set on the power play. To the line, Lamb winding, shooting, Wilkinson saving, rebound. Tipped that wide. I'm not sure Wilkinson didn't get a piece of the rebound. Now back to the line, Hurlbut gives it for Lamb. Fan on his pass. He got into it with Plavsic. Puck along the boards. Lamb shoved off by Davidson. It was centered, but the Knights are there. They will clear it, but not out. Hurlbut, he's it up, fakes the shot. Here's Lamb, slides it down. Conroy waiting, but couldn't find an angle to center it. Back is Lamb at the left point with 1:05 on the power play. Centered. Oh, just led Turgeon too far. Turgeon right side, looks back door for Lamb, but sets up at a left point. Sylvain Turgeon down the right side for Yo. It was an escape. He was drilled off the puck by LaPuma. Arrows hold though. Turgeon back to Hurlbut, winding, shooting. right on, and Wilkinson makes the save, and he will hold on. 5:23 to go in the first period. 47 seconds to go in the Savage Minor and a scoreless hockey game.
The Arrows looking pretty poised on their power play. They moved it around really well, and they eventually got it back to the point for a few good shots, and Yo missed the open net there on the one. And Scott Gordon, I'm sure, is saying something about his team about letting the Arrows set up like that.
Well, you can see for those of you watching on Prime how close that puck nearly went in.
And those are the rebounds that I was talking about that you have to get to. Mike Yo was right on the doorstep there. The rebound came right to his stick, and he's got to put that one in. But the Arrows doing a good job of being there. Half the battle is being where the puck is, and Mike Yo was there. He just couldn't finish it off.
We featured Yo at the top of the broadcast as a guy that may really get a chance to fill the void with Mike Norris. He was playing well, but he's another guy they're going to count on to really pick it up. Here's Freer, centering one in front, knocked away. Freer in the corner with 37 on the power play. Lost the puck to Brad Miller, though. Miller in behind the net, and he was coming to the near side, jammed away by Hurd. It's clear to center ice, got through O'Connor and back into the Arrow zone. He's in a foot race with Christian Campo. Campo's got it. O'Connor sizes him up, takes him into the boards. Arrow's knocking away. Here is Vadim Slivchenko. Slivchenko couldn't move the puck away. Into the corner, Drulia jammed in there by Slivchenko. O'Connor trying to work it. The puck is frozen, and a face-off to the right side of Rob Dobson as Campo and O'Connor glare at each other a little bit. 4:50 to go, and team captain Stan Drulia, we were talking about, he has 60 points, which is 9 back of Craig Fisher. He's also third in the IHL in power play goals with 13.
Well, Stan Drulia is always going to be a 100-point man, or at least around that mark, and that's why he has signed a kind of contract he has with Atlanta for 2 or 3 years. So I mean, he's the kind of guy that they're going to call on to be there and lead that team.
He's had his chance in the NHL, but I think he's one of those guys that's a little marginal in the NHL, but just.
No, you know what? He had his chance, but it's one of those chances that wasn't really a chance.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a situation where they play you a third and fourth line, and they play you 2 or 3 shifts a game, and then they say, hey, why didn't you score? Well, hey, I didn't get the ice time. And that's something you see a lot of, and it's a tough thing. It's all timing. It's amazing that he hasn't got more chances.
Here's a turnover in front. Kelly Hurd puts it in, he scores, and it's a 1-0 Arrow lead. I think the Knights miscommunicated a little bit.
Talk about chances. The puck goes off Karam there off the boards, and off of Wilkinson, comes right out in front, and a wide open net. The Arrows will take anything they can get, and I'm sure Kelly Hurd will as well. And Kelly Hurd getting his 2nd goal as Houston Arrow, his 7th on the season, but the puck comes behind the net, and Wilkinson just fans on it as he misses the puck. I think Wilkinson heard those footsteps as both Freer and the Bannister were coming in, and Wilkinson must have picked his head up to see where he was going to play it, and he fans on the puck, and Hurd just picks up the open puck and dumps it into the net.
So his 2nd as a Houston Arrow, and the 7th of the year for Kelly Hurd, and the Arrows lead it 1-0, and we talked about the quick start. Here is Mark Lamb, right side, a pass out at center, and it's controlled by the Atlanta Knights. LePerrier up the left side, had it knocked by Lamb. Again, LePerrier fired it into the Arrow zone. Turgeon turning in his own end, and he'll push away as Krupke getting into it with Mark Gregg. Here come the Houston Arrows. Hurlbut out at center, shoots it into the Atlanta Knights zone. Back to play it, Daniel LePerrier, hard off the glass, clear to the line, up over the glass, and out of play. 4 minutes to go in the first. The Arrows lead it by a score of 1-0. We'll have more IHL action from the Summit right after this. 1-0, the Houston Arrows lead it with 3:58 to go. Come on, kids, smile.
You're having a good time.
This kid hasn't had much to eat, so he'll start on his pinky. You want a little sugar on that?
That's one thing the IHL is very pleased to have, or a lot of youngsters coming to the games. That just shows that when these kids eventually grow up, they'll bring their kids, and so on and so forth. And that's really a good thing. The IHL has done a fantastic job in that regard.
We should mention that today is Super Bowl Wednesday. Fans got to bring a couple of cans of food, and they received 2 $10 tickets for the price of 1 tonight. So pretty good crowd on hand for that. And terrific cause, you know, the food going to the food drive. Super Bowl, S-O-U-P-E-R. Super Bowl Wednesday. Here's a turnover in front, and Turgeon nearly tucked one in. A loose puck that goes in, score! It got behind Wilkinson, and the Arrows score, and it's a 2-1 hockey game.
I'm not so sure if Lamb didn't get his stick on that as he jumped in front of the crease. Everyone with the puck was bouncing. Everyone was slapping at it, but Turgeon does all the work as he feeds it in front. and it goes off someone, and it ended up in the back of the net. Turgeon gets a couple cracks at it. The second one missed the net, and then it goes in front, and I'm not so sure whether Lamb didn't get that. He was right there on the spot when he jammed it in, or it even could have been a defenseman for the Atlanta Knights. But Turgeon does most of the work. As I said, it goes in front, and Lamb is in there, but it looked like Plavsic maybe chopped away at it and put it in his own net. But it's going to be interesting to see who gets credit for this goal.
I guess you could say Lamb chopped it into the net. And I think he's going to chop in his 8th of the year. Puck along the far boards as they fight for it. Lamb in there. They go at it along the boards, and finally whistle stops play. They haven't announced it yet, but I got to think it's Laminator.
Well, he did get his stick in there, and if he got a piece of it, he obviously will get credit for it. But it seemed that while he was in the front of the net there, that it was chopped at by the Atlanta defenseman, Adrian Plavsic, and he might have chopped it into his own net. But it's still a 2-0 lead for the Arrows, and we talked about getting off to a good start, and the Arrows certainly have done that. They've hit quite a bit and caused some turnovers deep in the zone. The first one, the turnover, was Hurd's goal, and then of course good hard work by Turgeon to make the second.
Here comes Slivchenko again with a shot. That went just wide of the net. They're announcing it as Lamb's goal. Turgeon will get an assist along with Gord Krupke, and the Arrows lead it 2-0. Puck in the Arrow end. Larry String lowering the boom on Mark Laniel. Puck in the near side. Freer throwing his body into Werwenka, and they go at it along the boards, and the puck is cleared. Here comes Kelly Hurd across the line. 2-on-1 with Slivchenko. Fanned on the shot though. Hurd turning now. Here's Kelly Hurd. Shoots. Wilkinson the save. He will hold on. Tough break for Kelly Hurd. You know, I'm noticing tonight, I was looking at Gord Donnelly earlier that overskated a loose puck. Couple of guys going without the puck. I don't know. I don't know if it's the ice, because actually I was talking to Mark Freer before the game, and he was saying that the ice was in good shape this morning for the skate. So kind of weird looking at guys fanning on pucks tonight.
Maybe they're not used to the ice being in such great shape. As a lot of times we talk about the laying down the hardwood floors for the basketball, and of course that always wreaks havoc with the ice surface, and maybe they're just not used to that right now.
Puck is controlled by Yo. The shot stuck aside by Wilkinson. Chipped back down into the corner. Sean Rivers jammed it along the wall. Here's Al Conroy. Conroy trying to move it through Davidson. It came to Malkunas. He centered it, and it was wide of the intended passee, I guess, or passer, Mike Yo. Getting ready for the Super Bowl, for real. Here's a penalty coming up to the Houston Arrows, a delayed call with 2.5 remaining. And the Arrows are going to get nailed for a holding call. So this is their first penalty of the period. And let's see who is going to sit.
I think it's going to be Mike Yo. He kind of mauled Davidson as Davidson was coming up the wall. Davidson feeds a pass to Drulia, and Mike Yo just says clothesline time and keeps skating, but he doesn't get away with it. So the Atlanta Knights will have a chance to get within one here on the power play.
Mark Lamb coming out to kill out this penalty. How good has Mark Lamb been? We talked about his back-to-back pointless games only once. 2 goals in his last 3 games, but he's got 7 goals, 29 assists for 36 points in his last 30 games. Power play for the Knights 12th in the IHL, while the Arrows penalty killing, we talked about it, 18th. The team worse than they are, the Atlanta Knights, but they're on the power play for another minute 50. Back at center ice, it's Lee Davidson. Pass too far for Jeff Toms. Dobson wants to come out and play it. He thought for a minute about sticking it out of the zone, and they said, yeah, let's play it safe and cover it up, and he will. You know, I would almost say at this point, Rob Dobson is almost like the forgotten child, the way that he had played earlier in the season, but then you kind of go Rob who after the way Grant Shervin had played, but I think Rob Dobson wants to remind the fans that he still has a lot to say about the goaltending situation for the Houston Arrows.
Rob Dobson is a consummate professional. I mean, he's out there, he has a good attitude, and he practices hard, he works hard, and he also comes to play. So he's definitely, if anyone, deserves a chance to regain the stature that he had earlier on this year and also last year.
Puck is in the far corner. Jeff Toms trying to work it free. He was bumped by Miles O'Connor. Here's Al Conroy, and he will flip it off the glass in the length of the ice. 1:24 left in the power play, 1:55 to go. In the first period, Arrows lead it 2-0. Daniel LePerrier shoots the puck into the Arrow zone. Thompson tried to knock it down, couldn't. Krupke rolled it near side, but Jeff Toms is there. Came back to the line, LePerrier. LePerrier to the line. Here is Plavsic, winding. That went just wide of the net. And we've got another penalty coming up, delayed to the Houston Arrows. They're going to be 2 men down as the puck came out. It's going to be offsides on Atlanta, but what's worse for Houston is they are going to be short 2 men for a minute 2. And now this is a brand new period. The Arrows, who had built a 2-0 lead, now find themselves going 2 men down as Gord Krupke's going to go in the box, and Dave Tippett, I think the look says it all on his face.
Well, he is concerned with what the call was, and it's going to be interference, and it's going to be on Gord Krupke, most likely in front of the net on that last shot. As when the shot comes, I think Krupke might have put his stick either around the waist or between the legs of an Knight's player and spun him around in order for him not to be able to deflect the puck or at least screen the goaltender, Rob Dobson. And Gord Krupke looks as bewildered as anybody sitting in the box saying, when did that happen? Who, what, where, what, who? And Dave Tippett's sure wondering the same thing, but nevertheless, the Arrows will have to kill off a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 2 seconds with only 1:34 left in the first period.
That was the look I had on my face my senior year of college when I had 3 finals in one day. I still have that look now, trying to recover.
Well, speaking of tests, this will be a good one for the Houston Arrows.
Let's see if they can pass. Here's Davidson, had the puck chopped away. Back to the line, it's Adrian Plavsic. Plavsic drifts it back to the line for Daniel LePerrier. To the right side, Toms LePerrier looking in front. And he will wind, he will shoot. Dobson, great save. Here's Tom shooting short side. He missed the net. Arrows need to clear the puck here. It is controlled by the Knights. Plavsic slides it down. Julius centered, but Davidson couldn't find the puck. Toms back to the line. LePerrier. Get it for Toms. Cutting in, winding, shooting. Blocked by Hurl, but Arrows can't clear it though. LePerrier with 28 on the 2-man advantage. Back to the line. LePerrier rolled it for Toms. Cross-ice pass. Picked up by Plavsic. Turns it down. Here's Julian wraparound. Blocked by Hurl, but great defensive play there. Back to the line. Here's LePerrier in the slot for Toms. Wait, centered. Here's the shot. Great save by Dobson. I think he got a piece of it on the doorstep, and the Arrows clear it the length of the ice. That'll do it for the 2-man advantage. 1:03 left to Krupke. 35 left in the period. The Arrows lead it 2-0. Puck in the Arrow zone. Here's Julia sliding behind the net. Makes the move. Julia. Base of the left circle with 26 in the period. Julia winding, shooting, just went wide. Dobson may have gotten a piece of that. Here's LePerrier, centered! Oh, Julia made a great play, but he deflected it wide. Yo will turn, carved it down to center, and Lamb after it, but LePerrier got it. 10 seconds to go in the period. Pass center ice for Reggie Savage. 7 seconds as he hits the line. Savage, left side, Julia. He's got Darcy Werwanka with 1 second. The puck is down and the horn sounds. The buzzer sounds, ending the first period. Our score after 20 minutes of action. Great action from the Summit. It's the Houston Arrows 2, the Atlanta Knights nothing. And we'll be back right after this. Back in the Summit, everybody. The Arrows lead it by a score of 2-0. And Greener, I guess we look at the Oshman's game plan. One of our top keys was a good start. I would say a 2-0 lead after one, pretty good.
Well, yeah, you can look at the goals, and then, of course, that's always a great start, but it's what the Arrows did. Other than just put the puck in the net, they played good physical hockey down in the Atlanta Knights zone, and they used their body a lot in the defensive zone as well. They played good, solid hockey, and that's what creates things like 2-0 leads.
All right, well, standing by is Lee Davidson of the Atlanta Knights. And Lee, let's dispense with this right away. What was it like playing midget hockey with Mike Greenlay? We need to know that now.
Lee, you played in Chicago for a while, and then you came to the Atlanta Knights, and that seemed to spark your game a bit, playing with Stan Drulia and Jason Ruff. How big is that coming and playing with those guys?
You know, back in Chicago, I was playing with some other guys who were, not the top scorers, like Steve Maltia, Rob Brown. Getting a chance here to play with Stan and Jason just helped my game tremendously. Getting a chance for the power play, getting opportunities that I've never had before playing with other people.
Lisa, a while back you had a 7-point night against the Fort Wayne Comets. Career night for you, obviously. Can you reminisce a little bit about that one?
Well, yeah, it was just one of those nights where it seemed like everything was just going right for me. Every time I touched the puck, I passed it to somebody just happened to put it in the net. It was a great feeling, and I wish I could have those kind of nights every single night. And I don't know if it was anything different that I did, but like I said, it was just one of those nights where everything went my way.
Obviously, tonight, a very physical hockey game. I know you've only played a couple of games with the Atlanta Knights, but have you noticed the physical play between these two teams? Do you feel the rivalry going on now?
I think definitely. Anytime teams play divisional rivals, and when you play so many times against each other, like Houston and Atlanta, you're going to get those kind of rivalries and those kind of heated matches, and it's definitely, I can definitely feel it tonight and in the past games I've played against them.
Lee, thank you very much for joining us.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Best of luck. All right,
Thanks.
Lee Davidson joining us here in the first intermission. The Houston Aeros lead it by a score of 2-0. And when we return, we'll throw it to the Prime Sports Clubhouse on TV. On the radio side, we'll recap a little bit of the first period. Back after this. Back at the Summit, Adam Gordon, Mike Greenley, a 2-0 hockey game in favor of the Houston Aeros. And, you know, you look at since Dave Tippett has taken over in this new system, the Aeros have played the first and third periods outstanding. Seems like they get a little bit of trouble in the second period. What do they need to do different here?
I think when you see the success for the Houston Aeros, you see them hitting, you see them playing good defensively, worrying about your own end first. They do have a 2-goal lead right now, so that's also, they have to take that into consideration.
And you talk about the 2-goal lead, and we'll take a look at those goals, and it started with a strange one for Kelly Hurd.
Well, Wilkinson just misplays the puck, and Hurd's Johnny on the spot puts it in the open net. And I think what Wilkinson was looking for was maybe where to play it, and that's why he picked his head up. The next goal is a dumps it in by O'Connor, and it comes down. Oh, actually, sorry, there's the same one. O'Connor hits the same goal, but Wilkinson, as we said, Wilkinson picks his head up at the wrong time there, and that's Kelly Hurd's second goal as an Aero, 7th on the season.
O'Connor and Laniel, the assist of 15-28. Here's the one that the Aeros got from Lamb.
Well, Turgeon gets a couple whacks at it, and then he just dumps it in front of the net. It'll bounce ahead, and Lamb, it doesn't really look like he gets a piece of it, but he does as he tips it into the net. But a good job by Turgeon on this play, working, getting a shot. His rebound, of course, goes around the net, and Lamb gets the goal.
8th from Turgeon, Krupke at 16-15. And then at the end of that 2-man advantage, Rob Dobson closing down the angle on Lee Davidson.
He does, and a good passing play by the Knights as Drulia feeds it across, and Davidson does eventually hit the side of the net, but Dobson was there if it was on net, and a good job by Dobson that period and the Knights.
That 2-man advantage very critical for both teams. The Atlanta Knights needing to get onto the scoreboard to make it 2-1. They did not. It was critical for the Aeros to kill it off. They did so, and it's going to set up a little bit of time to kill off when we start the second period. It's 2-0 Houston. We'll have more right after this. Back in the Summit, Adam Gordon along with Mike Greenlay, a 2-0 hockey game. And let's take a look at tonight's first period stats brought to you by your local Texas Chrysler Plymouth dealers. 15-7. The Aeros outshot the Atlanta Knights. The Knights 0 for 1 on the power play, but they still have a little bit of time remaining on the power play to start the second period. The Aeros 0 for 2 on the man advantage. The Aeros with 17 faceoffs won, while the Knights with just 12. Each team 2 penalties for 4 minutes, and there are your first period statistics. And as we mentioned, Rob Dobson will have a little bit of time, and 26 seconds is what he has to face against Gord Krupke, as he has made 7 saves. His counterpart, Derek Wilkinson, has made 13 saves on the 15 shots. And we are set to go with period number 2. Conroy with Yo, O'Connor, and Donnelly defensively. Top of the puck, and Donnelly rolls the puck ahead into the Atlanta Knights zone. Out of the net, it's Derek Wilkinson. He'll hand it over to Daniel Leperrier, and away he will come. Leperrier skates it up and out of the zone, and here comes Stan Drulia. Drulia moving it through the neutral zone, worked on and pushed off the puck by Donnelly. Yo shoveled it ahead. Conroy trying to move it through Plavsic, and he got it into the zone, and that should do it for the Gord Krupke penalty. He'll be back out on the ice. Now Davidson overskated the puck, and Stan Drulia has come off a little hurt behind the play. He is grimacing and is in a lot of pain. The Knights already down 2-0. They can't afford to lose Stan Drulia. Here come the Aeros. Yo fired it into the Atlanta end. Leperrier goes back to play, ripped it along the wall, and here comes Mark Gregg at center ice. Gregg hits the line. Gregg winding through traffic, turns in front. Krupke batted that away. Puck down low. Here's Hurlbut to gather it in and turn behind the net. It ahead for Turgeon, and out at center ice, Mark Lamb across the line. Here's Lamb pulling up center. Turgeon, this shot, and he hammered it just wide of the net. Picked up by the Knights and shoveled out at center ice. It is Sylvain Turgeon in his own zone with 18:49 to go in the second period. It is a 2-0 hockey game. Townsend Get it to Lamb. Pass Turgeon down the left side. He's got Lamb at the slot. Couldn't get it to him. Puck dripped along it. Hit the side of the net. Arrows fighting for it. Here is Lamb. Base of the left circle. Gives to Townsend. It came out in front, though, and Plavsic works it out at center ice. At center, Reggie Savage dodged to Jake's hip check. Savage down the left side. He's hit into the boards by Mark Laniel. Now Igor Cyprus battling in there with Jakes. Mark Gregg. Base in the left circle for Savage, tipped away. Jakes is turning, worked it out for Lamb, and he'll move it up and out at center ice. Lamb, left wing, shoots the puck into the Atlanta Knights zone. Wilkinson slows, and it is played by Sean Rivers. Up the right side, Bannister at center through the check of Freer. Savage pushed it into the Arrow zone, and Dobson will slow. Dobson along the far board. Bannister held at a right point. Donnelly has to hustle back to play, and he is drilled off the puck. Peterson takes it. He was worked off by Freer, and the Arrows come away with it. Freer off the glass, back out at center, and the Knights take over at neutral ice. Jeff Toms across the line. That looked offsides, and there's the whistle with 2.5 gone in the second period in a 2-0 hockey game.
You know, I talked to Jeff Toms before the game, and he had expressed how important a game that tonight would be. And boy, he said that right, because both teams realize the gravity to this game. And I guess if you can keep beating the team that's ahead of you for the Houston Aeros, there's nowhere but up. And the Aeros certainly have to start climbing right now.
We talked about ice times for Stan Drulia and for Mark Lamb. 8:45 for Drulia. And Mark Lamb was 7 minutes and 42 seconds, which is just about par for those two.
It looked like Drulia got a bit of a hip pointer there when Donnelly stepped up on him a couple plays ago, but he's right back out on the ice.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot to get a Stan Drulia out of the game. Here is Miles O'Connor in his own end. A pass from Algunas, romping to center. His pass, shot right to Drew Bannister, and the Knights clear it. Back at neutral ice, it's Drulia. Sent it back into his own zone. Sean Rivers worked the puck ahead. Bannister into the Houston Aeros zone. It came out in front. Bannister trying to move it out in front. Bannister looking for Drulia. He's bumped. Here is O'Connor, who overskated the puck, had to go back to retrieve. Miles O'Connor up the left side. The pass came to Conroy. Goes over to Malgunas, who rips the shot. That puck is deflected up and out of play, and play is halted. Timeout on the ice. 3 minutes gone in the second. 2-0 Arrows. Back after this, but first this word from Southwest Airlines. Terrific night of hockey at the Summit. The Arrows lead it by a score of 2-0. 16:57 to go. Looks like she's ready to coach, trying to think about what the Arrows should do on their next power play.
Well, the Arrows have a 2-0 lead right now. They need to maybe extend that a bit, but also, like we said in the first intermission there, need to concentrate on what to do defensively, and they've done a great job at that so far tonight.
Here's a long shot by Gord Donnelly, and it's controlled by the Atlanta Knights. Chris LaPuma turns it far side, takes a bump from Malgunas. Knights turning in their own end. Lee Davidson chipped it up and out at center ice. Overskated by Kempo. Here comes LaPuma across the line. LaPuma winding, shooting. Great up there by Dobson. He'll hold on. Rob Dobson taking over where he left off in the first period, which is taking over where he left off against Utah.
Well, LaPuma steps over the line, and he just winds up. Rob Dobson will stop this 999 times out of 1,000, or maybe even more. But Dobson just has a full view of sight line there, and he just picks it up out of the air. And after that, a little bit of pushing and shoving by both teams, but nothing comes of that. We've kind of continually talked about the rivalry between Houston and Atlanta, and it's a good rivalry, but it's always going to be a rough one, and you're always going to see a little bit of extracurricular activities after the whistle.
Speaking of it being a rough one, we should remind everyone, Jason Ruff out of the lineup tonight, along with Scott O'Neill. I believe this is it for those two as far as suspensions from that earlier bout between these two teams. I think it was November 17th when everyone kind of got a little aggravated. Face off to the right side of Rob Dobson. Lamb against Igors Cyprus. Sticks down, drop of the puck. Arrows have it. Mike Hurlbut tossed it in behind the net. Far side, it's Turgeon that cleared it, and it's back at neutral ice. Chris LaPuma forechecked by Graham Townsend. Ooh, heads up. That nearly went into the Arrow bench. Krupke moves it right side. It was tipped away, and here comes Reggie Savage down the left side. A man to beat Hurlbut. Savage shoots. Dobson the save, and he will hold on. Mike Hurlbut playing that perfectly, allowing Dobson to see the shot, and Dobson will hold on.
Well, you give Dobson those kind of shots, he's going to stop them every time. And Savage comes down the wing, and he gets a good shot up, but it's not the kind of shot that's going to beat Rob Dobson. He didn't even have to move, really. He just stood up and took it right in the chest. As Savage is on 1 foot, doesn't really get a lot behind the shot. Dobson standing there like a wall, and it just hits him right in the crest, and he covers up the rebound as LaPuma was streaking in looking for some kind of rebound. When you want to give some kind of rebound, Savage should think about firing one into the goal pads, because those usually give up the rebounds, not the chest.
Here is LaPuma, who tossed it back into the Arrow zone. Savage was after, but that was going to be a 2-line pass. Faceoff comes back to center. The Arrows, it's kind of an interesting story for them as far as travel is concerned. They have to board a plane at 6:50 tomorrow for Phoenix. Normally, they would just stay in Houston and practice and then take a later flight to Phoenix the day before a game, but they got to take a 6:50 flight so they can practice in Phoenix. Why? All the flights are booked because of the Super Bowl. It's tough to get a flight. 6:50 was the only one they could get the hockey team on.
And this is the real Super Bowl, not the SOUPER Bowl that we have tonight, where they're bringing their soup cans and they get 2 tickets.
You know what else is going on in Phoenix? They've got the Phoenix Open Golf Tournament. There's a shot on, stopped by Wilkinson. Plus, I believe there's a hockey tournament going on, a junior hockey tournament going on in Phoenix. I mean, that is going to be a hopping town. History by Hurlbut, fired into the Arrow, or into the Atlanta Knights zone. Rowenka turning in behind. Rowenka fired it off the boards from Mark Gregg. Those two were teammates when they played juniors in Lethbridge. Here come the Knights. The shot by Savage, hooked wide of the net. Far side Turgeon, gathered in the puck in his own zone. He'll turn up ice. Here comes Sylvain Turgeon. Pass for Lamb. Lamb trying to move it, but Cyprus was there. Cleared it off the boards and out at neutral ice. Laniel blasted off by one of the Knights. It was Brent Peterson that fired him off the puck. And the Knights take over at their own blue line. LaPuma had it intercepted by Turgeon. Across the line with Graham Townsend and Mark Lamb. Turgeon sidestepped the check. Shot off skates. Lamb trying to make his move around Rowenka. Lamb with a goal tonight. Lamb turning back to the line. Here's Laniel. Worked it along the wall. It came behind the cage. LaPuma was there. He'll clear to the line. Not out. Jake's right point. Jakes give it to Slivchenko. Whiting shooting. Wilkinson saving. And he will hold on with 15:05 to go, second period. And a 2-0 hockey game. And once again now, some talking as Laniel and Mark Gregg discussing matters.
Well, a lot of the things that you see, a lot of the after the whistle stuff, that usually stems from something that happened earlier on in the play. And speaking of earlier on in the play, Slivchenko gets a good shot from the circle, but Wilkinson, he got, like I said, butterfly style, and if you take a kind of shot from there, you're going to want to either keep it low or put it upstairs. You put it anywhere in the middle, and that's where he's going to be, because his chest was right there when he dropped to his knees, and he just smothers it. He's made 16 saves tonight. He's played pretty well. The Arrows have beat him twice. One, I suppose the first one, a bit of his own error as he banned on the puck and it came out in front and Hurd scored. But the next one was just a good play by Turgeon, and Lamb getting in there for the goal.
Face off to the left side of Derek Wilkinson. And the Knights win the draw. Here is Bannister in behind. Fired it off the boards and out at center ice for Lee Davidson. Davidson through the neutral zone, got it through Donnelly. It came to the corner for Christian. He's drilled by Gord Donnelly. Puck along the wall, picked up by Campo. In front, he's got Julia, but couldn't get the puck to him. Along the boards, back to the line. Bannister shooting. Dobson saving, rebound. Covered up by Dobson. He will hold on. Julia was spun around by Donnelly, but everybody collapsing around Rob Dobson as he makes another terrific stop with 14:40 to go. In the second, Arrows 2, Knights no score.
And Rob Dobson's a relatively big guy, and he does get down there really well to pick up the puck through the screen. He's made 10 saves tonight, and a couple of good ones. This one right here, he sees through the screen, and he makes a good pad save as Bannister will pick up the puck, walk in, and get a not a very hard shot, but you see it coming through the screen there, and after that, you see the defense moving everyone. Freer's in there, O'Connor's in front looking at things, and of course Donnelly took care of Stan Drulia, who was breaking in looking for a rebound.
Puck is shot the length of the ice into the Knights zone. Julia back to touch it. That will be an icing call on the Houston Arrows, as the faceoff will come back into the Houston Arrow end. The Arrows' next action will be Friday in Phoenix when they take on the Roadrunners. That's a radio-only game. And then Saturday night from the Cow Palace, they will take on the San Francisco Spiders. And that is a game that not only you can hear on KPRC, but as well as see on UPN 20. Fans, it's a salute to the brave men and women of the Houston Fire Department. Join us Sunday, February 4th at the Summit. The Houston Fire Department calendar guys will be on hand to battle it out in a tug of war on the ice. Ladies, get your tickets now. You don't want to miss this. That's Sunday, February 4th at 4 p.m. Jeff Toms will center a line with Corey Spring, Brent Peterson, Daniel LePerrier, and Adrian Plazic. The Arrows come out with Al Conroy, along with Mark Freer, Mike Yeo. Defensively, Jason Laniel. Off the face-off, the Arrows have got it. Laniel turns behind the net, up the far side for Yeo. Cleared out at center ice. Plazic tipped it away from the streaking of Freer. Toms for Atlanta. Into the Arrow zone. Dobson out to play it. Jammed it along the wall. Peterson centered it, but Freer was there. Here's Mark Freer in behind the net. Freer tossed it off the boards, and the Arrows will try to clear Conroy. Bumped by Peterson, not out. Corey Spring the shot. Ricocheted through traffic, and Laniel will gather it in. Mark Laniel playing peekaboo with Brent Peterson. Fired it ahead for Conroy. Lead pass for Freer is over 2 lines, so it's played by Wilkinson. He will cover up as Freer was looming around, and he will hold on with 13:53 to go in the second. 2-0 Houston.
You know, Adam, with 2.2 goals per game over the last 10, the Arrows average. They're 2 goals right now, but the thing they, I think, have to concentrate on is defensively, because when you're not putting the puck in the net as many times as you'd like, you got to take care of your own end. And we talked about this before about Paul DiPietro and the loss of Paul DiPietro. You guess you got to kind of ask, and it would be kind of a question you'd want to ask Dave Tippett. What would the Arrows want to do in that situation? Are they in the market for another Paul DiPietro or not?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think you're always in the market. The question is, what does the market bear?
Right, and will you find someone like that?
Off the face-off, it is controlled by Sean Rivers for Atlanta. Cleared to the near side. Donnelly worked it through the check. They battle at the base of the circle right side. It's Conroy behind the net for Yeo, but it was tipped away by Rivers. Knights trying to clear, cannot. Now Gunas is there, but the Knights shovel that away, and it'll go back into the Arrow zone where Miles O'Connor is there. O'Connor from Malgunas in his own end. Ooh, nearly turned that puck over as Campo came in and tapped him off the loose puck. Lee Davidson into the corner. Here's Davidson for Atlanta. Cuts it back to the line. The centering pass too far. Campo had to gather it. Behind the net, Julia overskated it. This is Sean Rivers left side. Rivers behind the net, Julia. He tried to center it. Davidson got it to the line. The Knights working the puck here as the Knights turning. Julia behind the net. He tried to get through Miles O'Connor. Here's Julia cutting right in. Can he get a shot away? No, it was poke check, and it scoots wide, but still the Knights have got it. This is Campo, centered. Dobson, great play as he stuck that aside. He will hold on, and play is halted. Let's take time out. 13 minutes to go in the second. It's the Arrows 2, the Knights nothing. Don't go away. We'll be drilling after this.
Back at the Summit, 2-0 Arrows lead it, but the Atlanta Knights, I'll never say die. Campo working the puck down behind the net. The Atlanta Knights cycling the puck very well and controlling down low in the Arrow zone. And Campo will just throw it off the side of the net, and Dobson will freeze it. I think what they wanted to do is maybe have Campo step out a little farther and then try and feed Drulia on the back door, or the other Atlanta Knight that was standing right in front of the net. But Campo feeds it a little too early, and Dobson's able to steal the puck away and freeze it.
Face-off controlled by the Arrows as they're out shooting Atlanta 18-10. Thus far in the hockey game. Turgeon across the Atlanta blue line, tipped away by LaPuma, who drills him into the corner, and it was worked away, but then the Arrows come back, and Krupke drilling one of the Knights, and that's going to be a penalty on Gord Krupke for interference.
Krupke takes Savage out, and it's second big hit. Krupke's laid on Savage, but this time Savage really didn't have the puck, and so Krupke will go into the box for 2 minutes for interference.
Well, they'll bring the face-off out at neutral ice, and Reggie Savage has been introduced to the wall unceremoniously by Gord Krupke a couple of times. You're right, without the face, the beard, it's like just looks like a tame guy on the ice, and he's not. Although he's one of the nicest guys you'd want to meet off the ice. He's got to get that goatee going back. It won't take him long.
They're making them look mean.
That's right.
The Atlanta Knights tonight are 0 for 2 on the power play. You see it with only 2 shots. So the Arrows doing a really good job tonight, but you don't want to keep taking power play or penalties against the Atlanta Knights, because eventually they will get one on you.
It is Daniel Leperrier. He will move the puck out at center. A pass for Savage. He'll hit the line. Dropped it for Mark Gray. Pass came to the line for Plazic. Line, shoots, Dobson safe. Oh, he kicked it nearly in front. It went off his skate and nearly went into the net, and I think Dobson may have gotten a piece of that. Puck not out, though. Puck knocked down, but Hurlbut is there for Houston, and he'll shovel it the length of the ice.
The puck hit Dobson's stick, and I think it hit the leg of a defenseman or a forward in front, and it came right back at him, so he had 2 saves to make.
This is Adrian Plavsic for Atlanta, trying to get away from the checking of Al Conroy. Slides it ahead for LaPerriere. Now for Gregg. Across the line, Iger Cypress for Gregg. Slicing in on goal, but he worked it away. Iger Cypress rather. Slides it down. Cypress along the far corner. He's got Plavsic backdoor, but Yo read that pass, and he shoots it down the ice. Out of the net, it's Derek Wilkinson. And away the Knights will come. LaPerriere. He will turn in his own zone and bring it out at center ice. LaPerriere ripped it into the Arrow zone. Dobson got there to knock it down, and he will shoot that to the line all the way down the ice.
We talked about how Dobson is such a good goaltender with the puck, and you experience a little bit of that right there as he hauls it all the way down the ice.
Here come the Knights from right to left. It is Sean Rivers, a pass for Jeff Tom, swatted away by Miles O'Connor and right back into the Knight zone. 23 seconds left in the Krupke penalty. Darcy Werwenka in his own zone. Werwenka will turn. Here comes Werwenka. The pass knocked away, and now Lamb's got a chance. Short-handed shoots. He scores! Short-handed goal for Mark Lamb, second of the night. His ninth of the year. It is a 3-0 Arrow lead.
And for the Houston Aeros, that's their 7th shorthanded goal. Atlanta Knights now tie the Houston Aeros with shorthanded goals against at 15, but Hurd gets in there and just chips the puck to Lamb, who's streaking in, and he'll beat Wilkinson 5-hole with just a shot. Actually, it goes underneath his glove hand as Wilkinson drops, but you know what also drops is his glove. If his glove stays up, maybe he stops this, but with Lamb, he chips it, and down goes Wilkinson's glove. It makes it underneath his arm, and we have a 3-0 lead for the Houston Aeros with 11 seconds remaining on the Atlanta Knight power play.
At neutral ice, Steve Jakes got it into the Knight zone, and Brad Miller is there. Miller sends it over to Bannister, back for Brad Miller. Miller, a long lead pass for Peterson. He was spun off the puck as the penalty is over to Gord Krupke. It is Laniel turning, and it came out in front. Dobson slows with 10:27 to go. In the second period, the Arrows have opened up a 3-0 lead.
And now it'll be up to guys like Laniel to shut it off defensively. The Arrows have done, once again, like I said, a great job tonight keeping the Atlanta Knights at bay. The Atlanta Knights had a 5-on-3 at the end of the first period, could not get one. And here, the Atlanta Knights give up a short-handed goal, but just fanned on the shot pretty much as Hurd gives it to Lamb, and Lamb just beats him under the arm.
Puck shot into Rob Dobson, covers up to the side of the net off the face-off. He will hold on.
That's one thing you'll see Rob Dobson do a lot of, especially at this point in the game. You'll see him freeze that puck as much as possible. It's always better to take a face-off than to make a questionable pass or play to your defenseman who might be being checked at the time.
Yeah, and it's always a safe play in the sense when you look at the center iceman he's got trying to win face-offs. Lamb, and when Conroy's in there, and Freer. Puck is in the near corner in the Arrow end. It's turned in front by Toms, knocked away, and Jakes will play it. For Laniel, work to Slivchenko. He'll blast it to the line, not out. Here is Laniel. Over to the far side for Jakes. He'll fire it off the glass, and now Freer's got a chance. Here's Freer left side. Makes his move, spun off the puck. Freer turning, and trying to fire it ahead, and then Bannister giving it to Freer along the boards, but no call. Puck goes into the corner. It's picked up by Brad Miller, and he's run into by a charging actually Slivchenko rather. What am I looking at? Now the puck along the wall, and they're going to blow play dead with 9:39 to go in the second period. Slivchenko working over one of the Atlanta Knights.
When you look at the line that's out there for the Atlanta Knights, you have Jeff Toms, Peterson, and Spring. Those are 3 very big guys, and you have Brad Miller on defense, and the Arrows did a pretty good job pushing guys around, and here's Bannister laying the hit on Freer, and the reason why this looked worse than it was because he gets up against the linesman and he didn't have anywhere to go, so he ends up on the ice. But then Slivchenko on Brad Miller, a big man, but Slivchenko throwing everything he had at Miller, but Miller, when a player's up against the boards like that, the guy hitting him always takes the worst of it because the energy goes through the player into the glass, back through the player and back to you, and there's nowhere for you to go except back onto the ice. With Slivchenko doing a good job finishing his check on that play.
Face off top of the near circle in the Arrow end, won by Houston. Krupke steers to the line, not out. Lamb trying to clear, and that is out. LaPerriere, center ice, and Adrian Plavsic ripped it into the Arrow zone. Dobson lost his stick. Here's Savage trying to move through Hurlbut. Krupke comes in there, and he's drilled by Mark Craig. In there, Krupke and Gregg go at it. They continue to jostle. Right now, the Arrows could use a frozen puck so Dobson could get his stick. Here's a shot, and Dobson makes the save, and he will hold on. 9:11 to go in the second period. It's the Arrows 3, the Knights no score, and well, that's got to be a scary feeling for a goaltender.
That's probably one of the worst things to have happen is a goaltender losing his stick like that, because you'll naturally will want to drop down when a shot's taken, but then that obviously tips your hand to the forward who's going to shoot it, and you might just want to put it right upstairs.
Well, here's a look at how Dobson, after he lost his stick, makes a good play as the Arrows working good behind the net.
Well, as I said, he does drop on the butterfly as Gregg does get the puck, and he fires it towards the net, and he's right there with his glove and pad and freezes it.
Arrows knock a loose puck down. Lamb along the left side trying to move it ahead. Lamb with 2 goals this evening. And it goes into the Atlanta Knights zone. Wilkinson slows for charging Leperrier. Hard off the glass, clear to the line. Lamb held it in. Steers for Sylvain Turgeon. Gives it back to Lamb. Cutting it on goal, but it was knocked away. You know, the Arrows only have 1 hat trick this year. It was Mike Yeo, but it was against the Atlanta Knights.
That same night, Corey Spring for the Atlanta Knights had a hat trick as well.
Leperrier, far side for Adrian Plavsic. Get it back for Leperrier. 3-0 Houston, 8.5 remaining in the second period. Krupke couldn't advance it. Hurlbut will. Reggie Savage trying to knock it down. It's scraped away by the Knight defense, and away they come. Here comes Gregg across the line with Igor Cyprus. Dropped it back for Plavsic, cuts it down. Here's a chance behind the net, centered, but it came to the line. LaPuma shoots, whistled wide. Puck batted away as that went squarely wide of the net. Yeo turning, he tries to clear, but turned away by Mark Craig. It's at center ice for Igor Cyprus. Cyprus for LaPuma, worked it over the line. That is offside, and play is whistled down. 8:05 to go in the second period. It's the Houston Arrows 3, the Atlanta Knights no score. We'll be back.
3-0 Arrows lead it at the Summit as you watch the defenseman in front of the net, Krupke, really laying the body, and this time again hammering Savage. That's the 3rd time. As Miles O'Connor does a good defensive play there, the puck bounced out in front. He bats it away like a baseball player and clears the puck out from in front. So good defensive play tonight by all the defensemen for the Houston Arrows.
Clock is in the Arrow end with 8 minutes remaining. They lead it 3-0, but here's a turnover in front. The shot stopped as Davidson tried to center to Drulia. Drulia wraparound. Oh, a marvelous acrobatic teetering save by Rob Dobson. And now everybody getting locked up as Yeo and Drulia are in there. LaPuma wants to have words. And everybody discussing matters. Looked like Rob Dobson was doing his Mary Lou Retton on the balance beam there, trying to prevent the puck from crossing the line, and he did a terrific job of it.
Well, that's one thing Stan Drulia, and that's one thing I learned about Stan Drulia in practice especially, is when he walks around the net, he fakes far side and just slides it short side, and he almost got Rob Dobson, but Dobson making a good pad save, dropping his pad down. You'll watch Stan Drulia come out from behind the net, and he'll fake far side and just come back with it right inside. And Dobson had lifted his stick up, but he does drop his pad down and stops it. And after that, Donnelly roughing up Drulia, and then everybody in. Eventually LaPuma comes in, and then the linesmen break it up. Nothing too serious going on there, but once again, you're going to see this kind of thing in a game like this against 2 teams. I mean, 9 out of the 18 games that these guys have played over the last 2 seasons have been decided by 1 goal. That tells you how close these 2 teams are when it comes to playing against each other. The Arrows outscoring the Knights 59-54 in the 19 games that they've played against each other. So a lot of the games pretty close.
Puck is in the Houston Arrows zone. Jakes turns it up for Mark Laniel. And the Arrows are out at center, but Slivchenko couldn't find the handle of the pass. Rivers slides it to neutral ice, and here come the Atlanta Knights. Brent Peterson gives to Corey Spring down the left side, cuts with a shot, fired it just wide, and then Rob Dobson went back first into the far post, and hopefully he's all right as Corey Spring and Steve Jakes went in there, and looks like Dobson's okay. 7:24 to go in the second, 3-0 Houston. Well, walking down the street, here it comes. He gets the funniest looks from everyone he meets. It's the Monkees, or better yet, it's Davy Jones. Friday, February 16th is Monkees night with your Houston Arrows. Davy Jones will be your celebrity host for the evening. Don't take the last train to Clarksville. Get your tickets now. You know what? And there's a rumor. This is kind of like a Jones weekend, because after that game, the next night, the 17th, the Arrows play. And there's a rumor that one of the sports nuts from KPRC, Darren Jones, and his band might be performing here at the Summit. I'm looking forward to seeing Darren Jones wail on the 6th string. That kid can play. Here's the puck controlled by the Atlanta Knights. It came down, and Dobson thwarts that. Mark Freer up the left side. A rink-wide pass just off the stick of Kelly Hurt. It'll go down into the Atlanta zone, and Sean Rivers banked it off the boards, not out. Slivchenko held it, but a second effort is clear. Jeff Toms trying to get through Slivchenko. They battle along the near side. Toms hooked down by Slivchenko. That will be a penalty. And Slivchenko will go to the penalty box.
It appeared as if Toms stepped on someone's stick, but he does go down hard. Slivchenko, I believe, will get a tripping call. It'll either be Slivchenko or it looks like Freer. Because, you know, it looked like Toms had stepped on a stick. I'm not quite sure, but no matter which way you slice it, the Atlanta Knights will go on the power play. It's a 3-0 lead. The last time the Knights were on the power play, the Arrows scored. Mark Lamb is shorthanded, but Mark Freer will go off for hooking.
Time for our high-low rule book, and the call was hooking. And that's when a player uses a stick or blade to hook an opponent. And Mark Freer got it into there. They're calling it for hooking. Well, there's the call there, and it's, yeah, tripping. That's what it should be. That's when you get the hook or the blade below the waist. If you're above the waist, it's a hook. If it's down, it's a trip.
But yeah, it appeared as if he stepped on the stick, but I think maybe Mark Freer got his stick in there a little too much, and down went Toms.
Here come the Atlanta Knights on the power play. This is their 4th of the night. Now a chance. Drulia cutting in. Score! Stan Drulia power play goal. And the Knights on the board. It's a 3-1 hockey game.
Stan Drulia leads his team in power play goals. As a matter of fact, he's 4th in the league with 14 now power play goals. Stan Drulia gets a pass right up the middle, and it's a good one as he's in full stride. And he'll fight off the Donnelly check and just slap it 5-hole on Dobson. Dobson got his stick up a little bit as he drops to his knees, and Drulia will find the hole as he just gets a shot right at the last second, and Dobson lifts the stick a little bit, and Drulia finds the 5-hole. Drulia, 28 goals, 32 assists for 60 points coming into this game. And now he has 61 points with that goal. It's 3-1 Arrows.
Here's Lamb on the drive the other way. Blocked now. Krupke centered. Here's the shot. They score! Mark Lamb! That's the hat trick for Lamb. And the Arrows come right back and open up a 3-goal lead again. It's 4-1.
Well, they wasted no time, Adam. It's 4-1 Arrows, and they came right back. Lamb gets a great pass. All he had to do is dump it into the net as he gets the hat trick. Mark Lamb, as we talked about, playing so well as of late, really has exploded this game, and he gets a shot on goal. The rebound will come to Gordon Krupke, and Krupke will fake the shot and go back door right back to Lamb, and Lamb just dumps it in the net as Wilkinson had to come out and play the potential shot and couldn't get back in time. A great goal by Mark Lamb and a good play by Gordon Krupke.
Puck is shot down into the Atlanta zone. Wilkinson slows. 4-1 Houston. Here's Lamb looking for more. Lamb along the board, scraped in there by Plavsic. Lamb working hard. Tied up a couple of 7s in the corner. Now it's Graham Townsend looks in front for Turgeon. Townsend shakes off the check. Back to the line. Hurlbut winding, shooting, deflected just wide of the net. Back to play it. It's Brad Miller. Miller in his own end. A pass to Iger Cyprus. And now it is Craig across the line. Hurlbut tipped it away. Came out in front, and Krupke will play. The wall. It was a work ahead for Lamb. Sends one. Townsend shoots. Couldn't get good wood on it. Went wide. Turgeon behind the net. Looks in front. It's picked up by Turgeon. Came out in front. The chance knocked away by Plavsic. And the Knights are at center. Gregg lost it. Jakes turns it up, and the Arrows have a 2-on-1. Now it's 3-on-1. Turgeon shoots, and it was blocked. Now Turgeon centered. They score! Graham Townsend, 5-1 Houston.
Wow, Wilkinson can sue the Atlanta Knights for non-support on that one. Wow, the Atlanta Knights, or the Arrows, had all kinds of time in front of the net. I'm surprised Turgeon took that shot. It was at a sharp angle, but it didn't matter. He got his own rebound, and he fed it right in front. And Townsend just chips it in the net. A good job, and you see the pass come across, and no one was even near Townsend. They had 3 guys in front of the net for a good 5 to 10 seconds, and just to do whatever they wanted. And looks like Townsend will get his 13th goal of the season. It's 5-1 Arrows with 5:18 left. Atlanta, when trailing after 2 periods, is 1-16-2. So the Arrows have really built up a good lead going into this second intermission in about 5 minutes.
Here is Donnelly back in his own end, gives to O'Connor. That neutralized Lee Davidson takes over. Davidson shoots it into the Arrow zone, and O'Connor will go back to play it. Miles O'Connor along the boards, knocked down by Christian Campo. Davidson trying to move it. He's locked up by Conroy. Coming in front was Davidson, but thwarted by Conroy. It's controlled by Miles O'Connor. Jammed it off the boards, and the Arrows are at center once again. 2-on-2 Malgunas. Fires one for Yo. Can't get it through Rivers, and the Knights will play it. Bannister up the boards. Ooh, Arrows nearly had too many men as Conroy had to skid into the bench. Malgunas behind the net. He centered one, but Freer couldn't jump on it, and the Arrows are back. Hurlbutt at his own blue line. A pass worked for Freer. Here's Kelly Hurd moving in. Hurd had it chopped away. Hurd moves it down. A centering pass knocked away, and Stan Drulia is there. Drulia slides it into Houston Arrow territory, and Krupke will play. Gord Krupke over to Mike Hurlbutt. Oh, lost the puck in front of the shot, and Dobson makes the save. He will hold on. 4:03 to go in the second. It's the Arrows 5, the Knights 1. We will be right back. Not sure if they're smiling because it's 5-1 Arrows or Mark Lamb has 3 tonight. But with 4:03 remaining in the second period, the Arrows at least have control of this hockey game. And you talked about the Arrows trying to find some offense, and perhaps there's the guy that has in Mark Lamb with 3 goals.
The guy sitting next to him, Turgeon, isn't too much of a slouch himself.
Exactly. Here's Plavsic now trying to cut in front of wraparound, and Dobson makes the save, and he will hold on. Well, I guess if you're Dave Tippett and you're looking at the way the goaltending has been, you had a hot Grant Shervin. Then he kind of, let's just say, became a little more human. Gamble played terrific in Vegas, but it's Shervin that backs up tonight, by the way. But now you've got Rob Dobson that's playing well tonight and had the good third period against Utah. I guess you could say that things are going well. I guess it's not, you just play with the hot goaltender until something kind of settles. It is Daniel LePerrier along the near side. It's chipped away by Laniel, and Slivchenko could have had a break, but the puck found its way into the Knight bench, and that will halt action.
You know, we continuously talk about, about how the Arrow lineup has been so healthy. And, of course, Mike Maurice is injured now, but when you get an extra forward or two, and you get an extra defenseman or two, and you have an extra goalie lying around, I mean, this creates competition in practice and also, obviously, when you're in the game. And the competition is for the playing time, and you'll see that these guys will be working really hard to try and attain some more ice time, play more, and perform well. And so that's actually kind of a healthy kind of competition. That might be one of the reasons you see all 3 guys performing so well. They all want to play. They all want to be the man for the Houston Arrows.
Face-off will be to the right side of Rob Dobson. That's an excellent analysis, and I guess at this point you'll leave it like that. Here's a puck, loose in the Arrow zone, picked up by LePerrier. The shot right on, Dobson gloves it, and it's gobbled up by Gord Krupke. Krupke turning in his own zone, lobbed it ahead. The Arrows trying to advance it, knocked away by the Knights. Arrows picked it up again. It was Sylvain Turgeon. Turgeon, the pass, there's winding, shooting, scoring! What a goal by Sylvain Turgeon! He had 3 letters on that puck. That was NHL caliber right there. Low and to the glove side of Derek Wilkinson, and the Arrows lead it 6-1. Whoa!
You don't want to let anyone have a slap shot from there, especially Sylvain Turgeon. He does have a huge slap shot, and he gets his 17th goal of the season as he just steps into this one. I wouldn't want to be Wilkinson on that one. He really didn't have any time to react. It's one of those ones that you see the defenseman backing out of the way, and that's a wrong thing to do. And if that was Gord Donnelly in front, you'd probably see him sliding in front of that puck. But that's the difference right there, is the difference between sacrifice and no sacrifice. You let a guy like that tee one up from the ladies' tees like that, and you're not going to stop too many.
Puck is shot into the Arrow end. Donnelly fighting for it with Christian Campo. They continue to go at it, and the puck wrestled near side. Jammed along the wall. Malgunas trying to clear, and now it is Conroy with Yo, 2-on-2. Conroy cuts in for Malgunas, right in! Shoots, Wilkinson the save. And Drulia is there, and a penalty coming up. A penalty coming up to the Atlanta Knights for roughing, and the Arrows are going to get a power play with 2:57 to go in the second. 6-1 Houston.
Chris LaPuma will go off for the rough. He does lead the team in penalty minutes at 131, and he gets a little frustrated on that play. But the Arrows will go on the power play and try and make this one almost pretty much out of reach. It's 6-1 as we speak.
Well, we got a second here. Let's recap the Oshman's game plan and see how the Arrows are faring tonight.
Well, we talked about support, and they're definitely supporting each other because they're playing well defensively. You look at the better start, hey, they jumped out to that 2-0 lead and never looked back. They didn't get scored on until they had a 3-goal lead. And then when they did give up one, they came right back and scored again. And physical play, well, all you have to do is be listening or watching to this game, and you'll see or hear about all the hits that are going on out there. And it's a good physical game. It's clean physical hits too.
If you're wondering how physical it is, Reggie Savage took his shirt off and had a 33 imprinted on his chest. Here's Hurlbut, ripped the shot right on. Stop Wilkinson. Another shot by Conroy goes just wide. Why am I saying 33? Krupke's drilled him a couple of times tonight and worked him over pretty good as well. Now in behind the net, it is Al Conroy trying to pick a puck loose, and then Bannister got into Conroy, but the play whistled down. Arrows have 1:44 left on the power play, 2:41 to go in the second. 6-1 Houston, and team captain Al Conroy trying to see if maybe he can get into the scoring barrage a bit tonight.
Well, Al Conroy really plays an important role on that power play. As you see Scott Gordon and Al Peterson. Al Peterson, the new assistant coach for the Atlanta Knights. I played with Al Peterson last year, and you talk about a guy blocking shots. This guy is amazing. He's right up there with the Gord Donnellys of blocking shots. It would scare me. I mean, I wouldn't block those shots with equipment on, and this guy's diving in front of him with just his defensive gear on. It's unbelievable, but he has had a long career in the NHL as well.
Off the face-off, Turgeon trying to fire one in front, and Davidson chipped it out at center and back into Houston Arrow territory. 2:25 to go in the second period. It's 6-1 in favor of the Houston Arrows. Mike Hurlbut, pass to the left side for Lamb. Looked for Conroy, that's too far. And the Knights will send it back into the Arrow zone. Dobson comes out of the net. A pass came to Mark Lamb, and he'll move it up and out of his end, looking for Conroy. It bounced back, and Sean Rivers is there. Julia turning at center. Julia across the line. Julia making the move. It was scraped away. Now back to play at Mike Hurlbut. Jammed it near wall, and here comes Mike Yeo at center ice. Yeo across the line. Yeo makes his move. Yeo trying to move it in front, but he was attacked by Rivers. Still with the puck, though. Yeo fighting for it. Here is Yeo behind the net. Gives to Turgeon. Back to the line for O'Connor. His pass too far. And it'll go down the ice. But Rob Dobson, we've talked about it. I would venture guess he is probably, if not the best skating goaltender, one of the best. And he cleared it. Here's Slivchenko the drive. That was deflected away. Kelly Hurd behind the net. Looks in front for Slivchenko. Bannister scraped him to the wall. Here's O'Connor with half a minute on the power play. To Lamb. Shoots. Right on Wilkinson the save. Slivchenko turning. Right side. Belted by Bannister. Picked up by Kelly Hurd. Cuts in. Centered. Oh, a marvelous left hand save made by Wilkinson. Slivchenko again to Lamb. Back to Slivchenko with 16 on the power play. For Freer. Give it to Slivchenko. Slivchenko winding, faking. Get it back to the line for Lamb. Wanted to tee it up. Centered. Here's Freer. Right in. Pass went too far for Kelly Hurd. O'Connor for Hurd. Power play is over. Teams are at 5 aside. Here's a chance for the Arrows. A centering pass. Slivchenko. For a minute there, thought he was Wade Boggs, but the difference is Boggs would get a base hit. It was strike three to Slivchenko. Here's a centering pass, and Lamb bidding for his fourth, and he hit the post, and it's poked to center ice. Oh, man. He is more like out like a lion and in like a lamb tonight with 3 goals. Puck goes in, and Wilkinson makes the stop with 30 seconds to go in the second in a 6-1 hockey game.
The Atlanta Knights not looking like they normally do, and that is a little more aggressive. The Arrows are having their way with the Atlanta Knights, moving it around, and Wilkinson has to have been sharp in this last shift as the Arrows just kept feeding the puck in front. Lamb chipping it off the post. You can see his reaction. He's like, oh, I almost got a 4th goal. But the Arrows continue to put pressure on even after the power play was over.
Off the draw, the right of Wilkinson. Conroy trying to dig it out. Centered, but it was pushed away. But Malgunas muscled it away from the attack of Adrian Plavsic. Arrows, I'll tell you what, it's 6-1, but they're not sitting back. They're coming right after the Knights. It's shot to the line and out at center. 15 seconds to go in the period. Laniel fired it into the night zone, and here they come to center. Miller for Toms. Toms cutting in, shoots, and that shot went just wide of the net. 5 seconds to go in the period. Plavsic ripped the shot. Dobson, the pad save, and that is the period. So the Houston Aeros open up 6 goals in the hockey game. After leading 2-0, 4 more goals, and they lead it by a score of 6-1 due to 3 goals from Mark Lamb. We'll have more from the Summit when we return. We'll be right back. Back in the Summit, Adam Gordon, Mike Greenlay, a 6-1 hockey game in favor of the Houston Aeros, and I would venture a guess if you were trying to figure out what happened in that period to the Houston Aeros, they found their offense.
Well, they certainly did. Mark Lamb, of course, spurring on a lot of the goal scoring, but just an overall good team effort by pressuring down deep in the zone and forechecking really well. And we talked about the players backing each other up, and that's so important to have the confidence to go in and forecheck, knowing that there's going to be someone backing you up. And when you have that kind of confidence, it's always effective.
And we talked about this new system for Rob Dobson, and it's just as amazing. You look at the confidence that Dobson has, and I really don't think it was ever a confidence problem, but I think when Dobson ran into his problems midway through that first half of the season, you start saying to yourself, oh boy, what am I doing, what am I doing? But right now, Dobson looks very confident.
Well, the thing is, what you start doing is you start second-guessing yourself, and when you second-guess yourself, there's nobody that can tell you the right thing to do, and you just have to figure it out for yourself. And I think coming back into a situation like this for Rob Dobson, it just helped him that much more to be able to come in and play in behind a team that's playing so well like this. And all it's going to do is help his confidence along the way, and you might get yourself 3 of the best goaltenders around if they all show that kind of confidence.
The Aeros had a 2-0 lead after one period, but boy, they went to work here in the second. A lot of goals to talk about for the Aeros.
Well, certainly, and it comes from this this mistake right here defensively for the Atlanta Knights, and it's shorthanded. Lamb comes in and he just rifles it underneath the glove of Wilkinson. That makes it 3-0 for the Aeros, and Mark Lamb has his 9th goal of the season. But the Atlanta Knights come right back, and Drulia gets a good feed up the middle, and look at him fight off Donnelly, and finally find the puck and slide it between the legs of Dobson. Dobson normally would have that one, but Stan Drulia gets his 29th of the season on the power play from Davidson and LaPerriere. It's 3-1, but the Aeros make no mistake. They come back. Lamb gets a shot. Krupke the rebound right back to Lamb, and Lamb dumps it in the open side. It's his hat trick for Mark Lamb, and it gives the Aeros a 3-goal lead again, his 10th goal of the season from Krupke. And then the rest of the period, it's all Houston Aeros. Turgeon gets a shot, finds his own rebound, and then guess who he sees on the back door? The big man in front. Graham Townsend, his 13th goal from Turgeon and Conroy. It's 5-1, but the scoring wasn't done. It's the Aeros with another one. Lamb will feed it to Turgeon, and Turgeon just tees this up and lets it go right inside the post. Wilkinson with no chance on the play. Turgeon is 17th of the season from Lamb. It's 6-1 Aeros.
And I guess when you look at coming up to the third period, Greener, one thing the Aeros are going to need if they're going to be successful down the stretch and especially into the playoffs is playing with a lead, and here's a great chance for them to work on that.
Well, certainly, and discipline's going to be another factor. It's always tough when you play with that big of a lead to stay disciplined, especially if the other team's giving you a little bit of the jab in the ribs.
All right, when we return, we'll look at the stats through 2 periods, and we'll have that right after this. We're in the second intermission, a 6-1 Aero lead, and that'll take us in our second period stats, and they're brought to you by your local Texas Jeep and Eagle dealer. 28-15, the Aeros are out shooting the Atlanta Knights. That's after 40 minutes of play. The Knights 1 of 4 on the power play. The Aeros 0 for 3 on the man advantage. 35-24 the face-off differential for the Aeros over the Knights. 3 penalties for 6 minutes for the Knights, while the Aeros 4 penalties for 8 minutes. Screener, some other notes you might want to pass along?
Well, just going back to Lamb, I mean, Lamb has 10 goals, 32 assists for 42 points, but tonight he has 3 goals, of course, the hat trick with an assist for 4 points, and he's +4, really lighting it up tonight and having a great game. And you know, that's just great for the Aeros, but it's great for Mark Lamb, who's really getting rewarded for his hard work.
And now we'll take a look at tonight's game summary. It's brought to you by Columbia Healthcare Systems. Back in the first period, Kelly Hurd from Miles O'Connor and Mark Laniel at 15-28. The Arrows led at 1-0. They made it 2-0 on Mark Lamb's first of 3. Krupke and Turgeon getting the assist. We move to the second period. The Arrows opened up a 3-goal lead as it was Mark Lamb scoring again in the second period to give the Arrows a 3-0 lead. That was a short-handed goal. Then Stan Drulia at 13-26. But look at right back. The Arrows come 12 seconds later. Lamb from Krupke, who has 2 assists in the hockey game. Then at 14:42, Graham Townsend gets the goal. And then Sylvain Turgeon from Mark Lamb at 16:34. And the Arrows have a 6-1 lead after 2 periods of play. When we return, third period action. It's the Arrows 6, the Atlanta Knights 1. We will be right back after this. We are ready for the start of the third period. The Arrows leading by a score of 6-1. And let us take a look at updated ice times brought to you by our statistician Kimberly Johnson tonight. And Stan Drulia, who had 8 minutes and 32 seconds in the second period. That's 17-17 through 40 minutes. And Mark Lamb, 16-15 after he piled up 8 minutes and 33 seconds in the second period. And now there's a new goaltender in for the Atlanta Knights. It is Tyler Moss, who comes in with a record of 5-12-2, a 4.28 goals against average, 87.1 on the save percentage. But Tyler Moss is one of those kids that the Tampa Bay Lightning are very high on, as well as Derek Wilkinson.
Well, he's a youngster. He's his first year in the league, so they'll give him a chance to get his footing and try and get some games under his belt and see where he goes from there.
Arrows shoot the puck at center, and it's gobbled up by Brad Miller, and it's rolled ahead, but Freer found Slivchenko trying to move it through Bannister. It didn't matter, as we've got a whistle, and we've got a slash as Mark Freer is down on the ice, but he's going to get back up. And let's see who's going to get the call here. It's going to be a slash to the Knights.
It's going to be, looks like Brad Miller, the newcomer to the Knights, and Miller takes a lumberjack chop at, at Mark Freer. Mark Freer stays down on the ice, but he's back up and moving around. And the Arrows will have another chance on the power play. Like I said earlier, they've been moving it around really well and have been successful at getting some good chances. We'll see probably the first action for Tyler Moss down in the Atlanta Knight net. The Arrows just looking to keep extending their lead.
Davidson with Drulia, Rivers and Bannister defensively. The Arrows come out with Freer, Hurd, and Slivchenko with O'Connor and Laniel. Knights shoot the puck to the line, not out. Freer pursues along the right side. Freer taken into the boards by Bannister, and Kelly Hurd will turn. Hurd, base of the right circle, slams one back to Slivchenko. Tipped it down for Freer in the corner. Now Slivchenko looped it too hard for Freer, and Rivers is there. Cleared to the line, and down the ice it'll go. Out of the net, Rob Dobson. He'll slow as we're 30 seconds into the third and a 6-1 Arrow lead. Miles O'Connor will skate it from right to left with a minute and a half on the power play. For Slivchenko, slide it right side, Kelly Hurd trying to make his move around Bannister. It went into the corner, Freer behind the net. Mark Freer tapped in there by Bannister. Now it is Kelly Hurd. Hurd waiting along the left side, back to the line for Laniel. Tees it up, fakes the shot. Got it in behind the net. It's too far for Slivchenko. Davidson will gather it in and shoot it the length of the ice. Arrows will make some changes on the go as Dobson will slow it for Mark Laniel. 1 minute remaining on the power play. It is Laniel in behind the net. Flush to the far side. Here comes out Conroy. Conroy with Turgeon and Yo. Yo will blister it into the Knight zone. Moss came out to play it. Moss along the boards. It came out at center as Yo couldn't hold. And the Arrows go back. Hurlbut with 1.5 gone in the third period. A 6-1 hockey game. Hurlbut for Mark Lamb. A pass to the right side for Turgeon. Worked it over the blue line for Yo. Couldn't get a shot away. That is Al Conroy. Base of the left circle for Yo. Give to Conroy. Arrows have 25 on the power play. Lamb threw it off skates, and here come the Knights at center. Savage hits the line with Campo. Savage right side, moving right in on goal, but he lost the puck. Arrows trying to turn it around. It's gobbled up by Plavsic, but the Arrows will shoot it to center. Yo with 10 on the power play. Weaving it neutralized, dump the puck in, he'll come off for the change. Power play down to 5 seconds for Houston. It squirms to neutral ice. Davidson shot it into the Arrow zone, and back is Miles O'Connor as Brad Miller back out on the ice. Donnelly wings a pass to O'Connor as the Arrows trying to break it out of their zone. We're back at even strength. Slivchenko across the line with Freer and Hurd. Here comes Mark Freer, right side, looks, waits, shoots, and Tyler Moss the save. Here is Slivchenko right side, trying to move it through Bannister. Slivchenko drilled off the puck by Bannister, and it's shot back to center. 17:25 to go in the third period. Arrows lead it 6-1. It is Lee Davidson, hooked it into the Houston Aeros zone. The Arrows trying to fling it along the wall. It's picked up by Hurd and shoveled to center, but the Knights are there. Atlanta, Stan Drulia hits the Arrow blue line. Whoop, looked off sides, and they'll bring the faceoff back to center as Drulia had a little trouble with the puck, and the faceoff is brought back to center. 17:07 to go in the third, and the Arrows lead it 6-1.
Right now, the Atlanta Knights, just to get back into this game, need to put some more pressure on Rob Dobson, who has been protected pretty well and has done a good job himself at making sure the puck doesn't end up right on the stick of the Atlanta Knights. Rob Dobson covering up the puck quite often in order to slow the play down and give his team a chance to regroup. And a lot of times what a goaltender does in those kind of situations dictates the outcome of the next shift.
Off the face-off, it's Darcy Rowenka. Ripped the puck into the Atlanta Knights, or into the Arrow end. Hurlbut chased it down in the corner. Turgeon takes over. It is Sylvain Turgeon. Coughed it up to Cyprus, though. And the Knights control. Iger Cyprus to Renji Savage. Belted by Hurlbut. It goes into the corner. Cyprus and Townsend fight for it. Krupke drills his man. I'll tell you what, Gord Krupke is imprinting guys along the wall. It's Savage. Worked on by Hurlbut. In behind the net. Krupke tries to jam it away from Gregg. A grapple in the corner. Mark Lamb is there as he scampers to center. Mark Lamb through the neutral zone. Wings it to Townsend. Dropped it Turgeon. Sends it back. Lamb with 3 goals. Turning right side to the line. It's Jakes. Wine. Shoots. Ooh, and that was just hit wide by Graham Townsend. Puck to the near side. Savage. And the Arrows have got it. Laniel turning it neutral ice, hooked it into the Atlanta Knights zone. It is Turgeon right side for Lamb, cutting in, but it was cleared. Here comes Corey Spring to center, trying to get around the check of Jakes. Spring across the line with Peterson, shoots, Dobson, stick save, rebound in front, but it was picked up by Turgeon. Just about, well, a little over 4 minutes gone in the period as it came down to Dobson. He'll thwart that, and the Arrows will rip it the length of the ice. It's an icing call, but now it's going to be waved off so Tyler Moss can play it. They felt the Knights got there. Here's a pass at center for Corey Spring. Scraped off by Yo. O'Connor hustles back into his own zone. He'll turn in the corner. Miles O'Connor, his pass missed Yo. This will go down the ice, but again, the Knights touched it, no icing. 4.5 gone. Third period, a 6-1 hockey game. Arrows lead it. Al Conroy, it's got Yo all alone, the shot, and Tyler Moss gives a shoulder to cry on as he makes the shoulder save and holds on. Timeout on the ice, 6-1 Arrows. Back after this, but first, fly away with us on Southwest Airlines. Face off to the right side of Tyler Moss, and the Arrows lead it by a score of 6-1. Off the face-off. It is controlled by the Knights. Drulia slides it to Drew Bannister. He was belted by Conroy. Miller in behind the net, trying to fade for Bannister. Davidson gathers up a loose puck, and he'll move to center ice. Davidson through the neutral zone. Right side, Drulia trying to get it through from Yo. Not going to happen. Miles O'Connor is there to work it away from Lee Davidson. Campo chasing in behind the net. He's centered, but Al Conroy was there, and the Arrows skated out to center ice. Back are the Knights. Brad Miller. Right wing boards, got through Conroy, brings it across the line. Miller right side, short side, missed the net. Drulia picks up in a left point, tees it up, rips the shot, deflected right into Dobson. He made the save. Here's Bannister, the drive, kicked out of there like a bad habit from Dobson, and we've got a penalty. And then, oh, Miles O'Connor, a big cross check to Christian Campo, and the Arrows could very well be 2 men down here. I think O'Connor might get an extra minor here.
Well, I think the original call might have been on him, and it's going to be for interference, but you're right. I think he's going to get the cross check as well. He gets both minors. So for 4 minutes, Miles O'Connor will sit in the box while the Arrows will get a power play, or the Knights, sorry, will get the power play.
I should mention the difference here. Now, let's say it was Miles O'Connor who got one penalty and say Mike Yo got the other. Then the Arrows would be 2 men down for 2 minutes. But because the penalties are on the same player, O'Connor gets 2 for interference, 2 for cross-checking. So it's a 4-minute double minor to Miles O'Connor. So the Arrows have some work to do here to kill off this power play.
Well, from the shot, the rebound comes all the way out, and then Bannister, and there you see right in front as it's interference on O'Connor, but then as Campo gets back up, he'll just get the cross check by O'Connor as O'Connor comes in and finishes him off into the pile, and that's where the second minor came. The first one, of course, was the interference. The second one was the cross check, and the Arrows will have to kill off 4 minutes. If the Knights score in that first 2 minutes, they'll still have another 2-minute power play.
Off the face-off, Knights have it along the right side. Igor Cyprus, as the Knights are on their 5th power play of the evening. It is Cyprus, right side, getting set on the power play to the line. LePerrier, the shot kicked out of there, and the Arrows shoot it the length of the ice. You talked about support, Mike Greenlay, and the Arrows are getting it. LePerrier will turn in behind the net with 3:36 left in the double minor to O'Connor. 14:10 to go in the hockey game. 6-1 Houston. Mark Gregg through the neutral zone, had it tipped away, and the Knights regroup at center. It's Igor Cyprus. Cyprus at center circle, moves it through the check of Kelly Hurd. Cyprus moving down the left side, getting set, looks in front, now in behind the net, skating with it well to the near side at a right point. LePerrier, get it to Plazic. Here's LePerrier, right point, slap shot, deflected right in, and Dobson the save, and the Arrows will shoot it to neutral ice as Reggie Savage gave Dobson a handful, ran in front of him there. Now the Knights are offsides, and they'll bring the face-off back to center. 13:40 to go in the third period, and the Arrows with a 5-goal lead as Dave Tippett and Pete Dineen look on as their hockey team up by a score of 6-1.
You know, we talked about Savage in front of the net, and he's really effective in there, probably just as effective as someone like Townsend, because he gets in front of the puck and then he gets on top of the goaltender too. And when he gets hit, he doesn't, like a lot of players will try and stay away from going into the goalie, into the net, but when he gets hit, it's like he aims for the goalie so he can knock the goalie down and really get in there. And he, like I said before, last time we played, he spends more time in the crease than the goalie does sometimes.
Okay, puck is in the Arrow zone. 2:53 left in the double minor to O'Connor. Here's a chance. The shot whipped wide by Adrian Plazic. Knights work it back to the line. Tipped away by the Arrows to the line, not out. Held in by Plazic. Down the right side, Davidson centered. Kicked away by Donnelly. Here's Jeff Toms, base of the right circle, pulls up hash marks. To the line for Rivers. Back to the circle for Toms. Centered, cross the ice for Plazic. Arrows clamping down. Here's Rivers, winding, shooting, and Dobson through traffic. I mean, this guy, it's like he was trapped on I-59 at the 5 o'clock rush hour, through traffic, picked up the loose puck, and held on with 2:28 left in the double minor to O'Connor at 6-1 Houston.
Rob Dobson gets a good beat on it as Rivers has a pretty good shot, and he rifles one right down the middle, and Dobson catches it while Davidson looks on. Davidson might have wanted to step in front of that a little bit and screen Dobson a little more, but as it was, Dobson did a good job to pick that up through a crowd, hang on for the whistle, and like you said, 2:28 remaining in the Miles O'Connor double minor.
Face off to the left side of Rob Dobson. And the Knights win the draw. LePerrier for Jeff Toms, sliced it down in front, but Jake's cleared it, and the Arrows are up ice shorthanded. Lamb already has a shorthanded goal to go with 2 even strength goals and an assist. Just a ho-hum 4-point night for Mark Lamb. The puck is controlled by the Atlanta Knights. Here they come to center with 2:08 left in the O'Connor double minor. Dobson kicked to the corner to the near side. Knights have got it. LePerrier right point. Quick pass to Plazic. Adrian Plazic, long shot deflected in. I don't know if that made it to Dobson though. It's picked up by Hurlbut, ripped to the line, and shot the length of the ice. Knights come back. Tyler Moss worked it ahead with 1:50 remaining in the double minor to O'Connor. It is Plazic trying to get away from Kelly Hurd. Plazic at center ice. Turned it back into the Atlanta zone. Here is Igor Cyprus to Mark Gregg as he hits the line. Gregg dumped the puck into the corner. Cyprus is there, turns it for Gregg. Can't make the move as he tried to center it through Laniel, but Cyprus is there. Igor Cyprus right side on the power play. Cyprus getting set. Turns it down for Savage. 11:58 to go in the third. 6-1 Houston. LePerrier, top of the slot to the left side. Plazic moves it down, tipped it for Savage, shuffles the pass in the corner, but the Arrows are there, and it's shot down center ice and back into the Knight zone. 1:07 left to O'Connor, 11:43 to go in the third. Arrows with a 5-goal lead. Savage lost an edge, crashed and burned at center. Yo trying to tip it away. It's moved ahead into the Arrow zone, but Houston takes over. Gord Donnelly, his end, a pass to Al Conroy, and he will just shoot it back down the ice. Tyler Moss slows behind the net, and here's Sean Rivers with 44 seconds to go in the power play. Rivers, quick pass at center for Stan Drulia, across the line, belted by Donnelly, and Conroy will shoot it down. Boy, the Arrows outstanding penalty killing, and the Atlanta Knights really struggling trying to get it set up. Here's a pass at center ice for Lee Davidson, watched by Lamb. This pass knocked away by Conroy. Rivers in the far corner. Davidson gathers it in, but then Rivers was able to clear but not out. Krupke held it in with a shot whistled wide of the net. Puck came to the corner. Out Conroy. Give it to Lamb. Lamb turning left wing boards. Lamb pushed in there by Lee Davidson. And it's gathered in by the Knights, and Werwenka cleared it with 4 seconds to go in the power play. It looks like the Arrows are going to kill off the double minor to O'Connor. Davidson cuts in with a shot high and wide of the net, and the penalty is over. They've killed off the double minor to Miles O'Connor, and the Arrows move it up ice. It is Mark Lamb circling in his own end. Lamb up and at him here. Here comes Lamb through the neutral ice area. Lamb across the line. Lamb looks down and then shoots it into the corner. Turgeon is there. Turgeon, right side. He was spun off the puck, and it's clear to the line and out at center, and Campo's got a chance left side. Campo, left wing, shoots. Whistled wide of the net. Back to play it is Graham Townsend. Fired it along the wall. Corey Spring is there to pick up a loose puck. Spring trying to get it to Carl Valamont. It came out in front. The Arrows fight for the loose puck. Valamont is there. Worked it along the boards. Lamb couldn't clear, and Valamont will try it again. It's up and out at center ice. 10 minutes to go in the third. Arrows lead it 6-1. Puck shot back down. This is going to be an icing call on the Atlanta Knights. Valamont is there, and we take timeout. 9:44 to go in the third. Arrows lead it 6-1. We'll be right back. Back at the Summit, hey, we've got all kinds of high-level executives. That's Joe Pogge, the marketing director, but he's just a low rent compared to the big executive to his left, and that's his son Jason, who really runs the show here. He's the one that Jason puts together all the promotions. Say hi, Jason. I didn't think so. The Pogmeister. Everybody enjoying this 6-1 lead. Here is Gord Krupke. Get it over to Mike Hurlbut. The long shot whistled wide. Puck center through by Freer. A shifty little play there by Freer. And the puck is cleared as Savage runs into Krupke. And a penalty coming to Reggie Savage. Delayed call. Puck down for Freer. Dobson to the bench for the extra attacker. Freer. Give it to Slivchenko. Slivchenko in behind the net. Slivchenko waiting, turns in front, looks for the pass. It came back to the line. Arrows, Krupke sends one down, and Tyler Moss is stopped. Slivchenko, stuff shot, and Moss will cover up, and he will hold on, and the Arrows are going to go on the power play.
It could be a charge, but it's actually going to be called an elbow, but it could have been a charge as Savage leaves his feet to take Krupke. Krupke's laid him down on the ice about 3 or 4 times tonight. I'd say a majority of them very good clean hits, but Savage takes a little too much into that hit with his elbows up and knocks Krupke's helmet right off. The Arrows will go on the power play, and they already lead it 6-1 with 9:12 left, but there you have Savage just jumping off of his feet, and you know, charging is called when you leave your feet to hit someone like that. But he did get his elbow up too, so you can have 2 calls there. That could be charging or elbowing. It's not both as he goes off.
So Savage in the box at 11:48, or excuse me, that's actually 10:48. 10:48. And the Arrows on the power play. Lamb to the near side for Al Conroy. Conroy getting set on the power play as the Arrows yet to score on the man advantage. They're 0 for 4 as Conroy centered one. That's knocked away. Conroy trying to turn in front. That was picked away by Plavsic. And here's a 2-on-1 shorthanded rush. Plavsic with Davidson. Plavsic right in, pulls up, and a good defensive play by Malgunas as he came smoking down to pick that away. Plavsic trying to freeze it. Malgunas wants to dig it out of the scrum. They continue to grind it out. It's poked out of the scrum. Conroy to the near side. Turgeon, the Arrows break out with it. Mike Hurlbut then says, we got time. Let's just set up the breakout. Here is Lamb, a pass, just missing Turgeon, but he was able to reach around and grab it. Turgeon had it poke checked by Drulia, and he will spring Rivers down the left side. Sean Rivers sends one for Drulia, shoots, and that was hard and wide to the net. Al Conroy trying to move it up ice, and Conroy is there. Give it to Lamb with 3 goals tonight. Rink wide pass, too far, and LaPuma rips it down the ice. 59 seconds remaining in the Houston Arrow power play. Miles O'Connor, quick pass, spanked to Mark Lamb. Make it Laniel rather across the line. Dropped it, Slivchenko. Slivchenko meandering down for Laniel. Puck centered, the shot by Freer, and Tyler Moss the save. Here is Freer. Worked it into the corner for Slivchenko. Slivchenko getting set with 35 on the power play. Puck back to the line. The shot blocked in front. And Drulia will turn. Try to clear it, cannot, but Brad Miller will move it up to the line and out at center ice. Now at neutral ice. It is Laniel who digs up a loose puck, and here is Mark Freer. Give it to Slivchenko. Slivchenko, great move, but he was tripped up by Bannister. Good defensive play by Bannister, and it is controlled by the Arrows. Slivchenko centered, but Freer was on the doorstep, couldn't get it to him. Townsend to Freer, shoots, Moss the save, and he will hold on. Mark Freer with a couple of chances on the doorstep, but Tyler Moss was there with 5 seconds remaining. In the penalty to Reggie Savage, 7:16 to go in the third, and a 6-1 Arrow lead.
So with the power play starting off a little slow, they get a couple good chances late as Freer gets a shot in front of the net, but Moss froze it, and they'll change as Savage is poised and ready to jump back on the ice. 7 minutes left in this game, Adam, and you know what, I know it sounds silly, but maybe it's good that there's a lot of specialty team work this period, because sometimes if it's a 5-on-5 team sometimes goes into a defensive shell, and that usually allows the other team to get back into the game. But with specialty teams, there's always that extra energy, that extra adrenaline, and therefore the Arrows were able to continue the kind of pressure and the kind of success they had in the first 2 periods.
Face off to the left side of Tyler Moss. And the Arrows have it. It is Yeo. Power play over. Yeo stuff shot. Moss got in front of that, and Savage will try to clear it. He cannot. Second effort, cannot do it. And finally it worked into the near side, and Bannister is there. The Knights with 1 of 6 on the power play. The Arrows 0 for 5 on the man advantage. It is Malgunas, a pass ahead for Al Conroy as the Arrows bring it up ice. Al Conroy hits the line. Conroy, right side as he pulls up. Sends it down for Yeo. It was Igor Cyprus that was there for Atlanta, and he cleared it out at center and back into the Arrow end. Al Conroy drifting to the near side. Floats a pass to Yeo, but it's knocked away by Cyprus, and the Knights turn. Igor Cyprus across the line. Shoots, and his shot went wide. Cyprus gathered in the puck. Watched it down for Gregg, cutting in, shot blocked, Dobson, rebound, they score! Reggie Savage on the doorstep, and it's now a 6-2 Houston Arrow lead.
Well, if you spend enough time in front of the net, you're likely to get a goal like this one, as it's a good job by the Atlanta Knights working it around behind the net, and Gregg eventually centers it. Dobson gets down and tries to cover up, but eventually the puck goes to Savage, who's floating around, and it's a pass across, and he just jams away at it. Gregg's pass that went in front of the net actually got caught in between the pads of Dobson, but it was Savage jamming away at it that gives him a goal, and it's a 6-2 lead for the Arrows.
Here come the Knights again. Corey Spring cutting right in on goal, but it was tipped away by Laniel. Adrian Plavsic right side centered a bit of a hand grenade that Schwarzkopf would dive out of the way on him, and here come the Arrows. A pass tipped away by the Knights, and the Arrows regroup in their own end. Laniel to Lamb. Cross ice pass, Townsend whining, shooting. Stick save by Tyler Moss. Townsend again, in behind the net. Work done by LaPerriere. Here's Turgeon, couldn't pull the trigger. Turgeon centered for Townsend, redirected behind the net. Picked up by Lamb. He's imprinted on the boards by Corey Spring. Townsend working hard in the corner. It's flung to the far side. Pinching was Krupke. It is Brent Peterson for Atlanta. Drilled by Townsend. Puck held in by Krupke. Long shot blocked. And LaPerriere will clear it to center for Corey Spring. 5:25 remaining in the hockey game. Arrows lead at 6-2. Mark Laniel takes the puck in his own end. A pass for Lamb. He's going to rip that right off the linesman. He wanted to go the length of the ice, but it hit the linesman. It is Drulia for Christian Campbell. Barreling in, shooting, and his shot goes wide of the net. Picked up by Houston, and Lamb scampers to center. Gives to Slivchenko. Slivchenko, nice move, but went without the puck. Had to go back and get it in the corner, dodging a Chris LaPuma check, and it's gobbled up by the Atlanta Knights. Werwenka. Darcy Werwenka tossed it in, and Drulia was in alone, and Dobson taking no chances. He will cover up and hold on. 4:51 to go in the third. Arrows 6, Knights 2. We'll be back right after this. Back in the Summit. The Arrows lead at 6-2. Adam Gordon, Mike Greenlay. And there's 4:51 to go, but a face-off to the left side of Rob Dobson, and Dave Tippett looking for win number 4. And it would take a huge breakdown for him not to get it, as the shot by Bannister and a little snatching glove save made by Dobson, and he will hold on.
Dobson sees this one all the way in as it's backdoored to Bannister. He rips one, and Dobson picks that one up out of the air. like he was picking cherries, and holds on for a face-off.
You know, the Arrows will be playing the Phoenix Roadrunners coming up. Dobson has had his problems against Phoenix, but we'll talk about that more in the next whistle, because the Arrows have the Roadrunners coming up Friday, and we'll assume that maybe he'll get the starting call. Puck is at center ice, and it's shot ahead. Mark Gregg lobbed one ahead. That was picked up by the Houston Arrows. Krupke tried to clear it, couldn't. Igor Cyprus takes over. Now Gunas bangs one ahead, and here comes Mike Yeo. Yeo left side dumps the puck in. Out of the net, Tyler Moss to slope. Rob Dobson with 3.81 goals against average in regular season play against the Phoenix Roadrunners. Here's Mark Gregg. Nice move around Valimont, the shot, and Dobson the save. And it's going to take saves like that for Dobson, as he will face the Phoenix Roadrunners, I would assume, come Friday, unless Dave just wants to get Shervin into the game. It is Mark Laniel on his own end. Bring it out at center ice for Lamb. Dropped it for Sylvain Turgeon. Turgeon across the line, splits, the D goes in. Tyler sports it, and then it came to Lamb. Lamb trying to move it out in front, and it's blasted away to the line, and Jake Zook couldn't hold it in. He's back at center ice. He'll hook that high in the air. It will bounce to the left side of Tyler Moss with 3:38 to go. Puck shot all the way down the ice. It will not be icing as Corey Spring is there, so Dobson will play it away. Arrows will clear it. Here is Sylvain Turgeon with Mark Lamb across the line. Dropped it for Lamb. There's a big collision right in front. Here is Lamb. Shoots! Ripped the bullet wide of the net. I'd love to see Lammer get 4, but I don't think he's... I don't know about that one. He may get it. He's going to get his chance, I'm sure. Puck is in front. Arrows trying to clear it. Here's a chance for Toms as Turgeon trying to pop him off the puck. And battling for it. Turgeon is there. He will clear it, but not out. Brad Miller holds it in. The shot high and wide. It'll go to the far side. Townsend in there with Adrian Plavsic. A couple of Mack trucks going at it there. Here is Brent Peterson, shoveled off by Laniel. Plavsic is there. Plavsic waiting. Now trying to get it in front. It squirts behind it. Dobson wants to play it. And now it is Graham Townsend who's in there. Townsend takes a bump, and he is down with 2:43 to go in the third. 6-2 Houston. Will be back right after this. The Arrows lead it. Sylvain Turgeon, a couple of assists tonight, a goal, good night for him. I want to remind our fans tonight that we will not have our usual Houston Arrows post-game highlight show. The KPRC side of things will wrap up at the same side as television, so hopefully we will have our regularly scheduled post-game highlight show next home game. So if you're thinking about calling tonight, don't do it. Here is Mike Yeo in the corner. He's tapped in there by Rowenka. Campo bumped by Krupke. It came to the near side. It's cleared to the line. Rowenka winding, shooting, and that's blasted wide. Now Gunas pumps it ahead, and the Arrows have a break. Here comes Yeo with Valimont. Yeo across the line, moving in. Center for Valimont. Nice centering pass, but Valimont couldn't get the shot redirected on goal. Drulia at center across the line. Tipped away by Krupke. And Al Conroy is there. Conroy moves to center with 2:09 to play. Conroy across the line. Conroy trying to make the move, and he's bumped by Chris LaPuma. Here's a puck that is cleared, and back at center ice, it's Mark Laniel. Laniel for Conroy. Scraped it into the Atlanta Knights zone, and Sean Rivers is there with under 2 minutes to play. Rivers hoists it into the Arrow zone, and it'll bounce into the corner for Laniel. Gently rolled it off the glass. It'll come to the line, not out. Bannister held the puck in, and now it is Mark Gregg behind the cage, looks in front. Here's Gregg centering one, ooh, and that just trickled wide. Here's Bannister, the shot, that hit Dobson, and Slivchenko will clear. Trying to move it around, Sean Rivers. Here comes Slivchenko, nice move, rated at goal! Shoot, save, rebound! Chipped wide by Freer as he's drilled by Bannister. Freer with an outstanding chance, couldn't get it in there. Here's Freer again, the drive, and that's tipped away. Puck picked up by Mark Gregg with 1:13 to go, and he'll jam it out at center ice. Freer had a couple of chances, Yeo had a chance, and Slivchenko had a beautiful opportunity in front. It is Bannister back to play it with 1:03 to go in the third, and a 6-2 Arrow lead. And it looks like, Mike Greenlay, that the Arrows are going to snap their 3-game winless streak.
They certainly are, and that's just straightforward, good hard effort. As you see on this play, Slivchenko makes a great move around Rivers, and he'll get the puck on net, and Hurd just can't collect it, and neither can Freer as Bannister gets back to thwart his effort. A good job by Slivchenko throwing on that speed that we've seen be so effective so often, is when he throws it into that fifth gear and blows by people. If you do that more often, he'd certainly be a lot better than he already is, and he is doing pretty good this year. So good job by Slivchenko, and a good job by Hurd and Freer following up on the play, almost getting the 7th of the night for the Arrows.
Face off to the right side of Rob Dobson. Puck is in the circle off the face-off. Knights have got it. Jeff Toms worked into the corner by Yo. Peterson trying to get in there. Toms working pretty good with Yo, who's lost his stick. Toms trying to move it out in front. It's tipped down. Toms gives it to Corey Spring with 43 seconds left. And it's shot to center ice. Malgunas after it in the Atlanta Knights zone. Looks in front center for Townsend, but Plavsic takes over. 35 seconds left as the puck went off the skates of LePerrier, and Tyler Moss had to be alert. Here's Yo shooting, and that puck slices up and out of play. Boy, that went off LePerrier's skates, and that was near havoc for Tyler Moss. Fans, catch the Houston Aeros Saturday night on UPN 20. This Saturday, January 27th, where the Aeros take on the San Francisco Spiders. Saturday night, the 27th of January at 8 o'clock. It's on UPN 20 and KPRC AM 950, your home for Houston Aeros hockey. There's a good look at Pete Dineen and Dave Tippett if you're watching on Prime Sports. And Rob Dobson, welcome back, Dauber. And he looks like he is ready to go down the stretch, if indeed he's the guy that they're going to go to. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of time to see Shervin. And don't forget Troy Gamble, who didn't even dress tonight. He played very well against Las Vegas. I don't think we've heard the last from Troy Gamble. Here's Corey Spring right side, brings it across the line, turned one out in front, block. Arrows trying to move it up and out of there with 15 seconds left, and Townsend races out with it. Townsend to Kelly Hurd, rips one in on goal, and a save made by Tyler Moss. 6 seconds left, and that is the hockey game. Sean Rivers, the pass ahead, and the buzzer sounds, and the Houston Aeros have snapped their 3-game winless streak. They win it by a score of 6-2. Rob Dobson picks up the win, and Derek Wilkinson will pick up the loss. And congratulations, Dave Tippett, picking up his 4th win as a head coach of the Houston Aeros. The final score tonight from the Summit, the Houston Aeros 6. The Atlanta Knights 2. We'll wrap everything up when we return. I'll have none of that. Back at the Summit along with Mike Greenlay, Adam Gordon with you. A 6-2 final in favor of the Houston Aeros. The Aeros have snapped the 3-game losing skid. It's time for our Texaco star of the game, and there's no doubt about this one. Mark Lamb, out like a lion, in like a lamb tonight for sure. His first hat trick this season, 3 goals and an assist, almost had his 4th. And Mark Lamb is your Texaco star of the game. And boy, I'll tell you, when you get Mark Lamb playing like that, it just bodes well for the Aeros.
Well, certainly he's played very well in all of his games, and the thing is, even if he doesn't get his goals, his assists, he still contributes a lot with a lot of ice time and a lot of penalty killing. He plays every role, and he does it well.
Well, speaking of Mark Lamb, let's take a look at tonight's Gatorade play of the game, and a big shorthanded goal for Lamb, one of his 3 tonight.
Well, a good job by Hurd to turn this one around, but Lamb's on the spot, and he takes it in from the hash marks, and he just takes a good hard shot right underneath the glove of Wilkinson. This eventually was the game winner, and it's his 2nd goal of the game. He eventually got his 3rd, and Mark Lamb with the play of the game.
And I'll tell you, you know, we talk about Lamb being our star of the game, but I want to make honorable mention tonight. We talked about Dobson. We talked about Turgeon, but how about the play of Gord Krupke tonight?
Well, that kind of physical play is the reason why they have a Gord Krupke, and if he continues to play like that, he's going to be seeing a lot more ice time as well.
Okay, that takes us to Dodge Final Stats, and it's brought to you by your local Texas Dodge dealers. Final shots tonight, 37-21 in favor of the Arrows. Arrows finish 0 for 5 on the power play. They had 12 shots on the man advantage tonight. The Knights finish 1 of 6 on the power play. 40 faceoffs won by the Houston Aeros, 34 for the Atlanta Knights. 5 penalties for 10 minutes for Atlanta, 6 penalties for 12 minutes for the Houston Aeros. And real quickly, even though we don't have it, I want to wrap up Kimberly Johnson pointing out our ice times tonight. Mark Lamb, 24 minutes and 4 seconds. Stan Drulia, 24 minutes and 12 seconds. So these guys just playing tons of ice, and there's no surprise there. Greener, quickly, a final comment on tonight's hockey game for the Arrows.
Well, I think it's positive going into this weekend because you want to win your games at home. The road games are always tough at this time of the year.
All right, the Arrows' next game will be Friday night from Phoenix as they take on the Phoenix Roadrunners. Our next Prime Sports telecast Sunday, February 4th at 4 o'clock when the Arrows take on the Fort Wayne Comets right here on Prime Sports and KPRC. Once again, tonight's final score from the Summit. It's the Houston Aeros 6, the Atlanta Knights 2. For Mike Greenlay, this is Adam Gordon saying so long.
Celebrating